Hey everyone, how's it going? Welcome to some Monday night 5-10 action. We've got an exciting lineup here. A lot of familiar faces and a few new ones, so we should be in for a good game tonight. My name's Austin. I'll be doing commentary with junior producer Seth. He'll be joining us shortly, and it looks like we're going to start out with a bomb pot as soon as everybody sits down and is ready. Seeing some people in the chat already. We've got Jedi Master Ted, Rare Bacon, some familiar names in here. If you haven't already, like and subscribe. Tell your friends. Should be in for a treat tonight with a fun game. And it looks like we're starting off with a $25 bomb pot. Everybody's gonna get 4 cards, and we're gonna go right to a flop. Jedi Master Ted says, "What's up, Austin? Not much. How are you?" We got some gambling going on in the chat already. So while we wait for some of the cards to scan, we've got our junior producer here in the booth with me. Seth, how's it going?
Hey, hello everybody. How is the chat doing tonight? Let's get the chat up.
Got some familiar names.
So we got the first bomb pot here, I see. Let's see.
We're still waiting for some of the players' cards to scan. By
Yeah,
now
there's
it
got to be some clubs out there, I would suspect.
looks like the ace of clubs is actually on the board. Checks around to the river. Looks like Chase is ahead right now with 2 pair.
Okay, let's. Yeah, there's the clubs.
And looks like the 6 high flush is going to take this one down.
So how's your night going, Austin?
Good. Excited to be
Good.
here.
Yeah, thank you. Thank
got
you
a
for
good
joining
lineup.
us. Sorry for the pause, guys. I'm still trying to get some things worked out with the stream. Multitasking tonight. Can you believe that?
Truly amazing.
For me, it is, for sure.
He never fails to amaze us with his talents, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah, or lack thereof. Okay, so
So we got some familiar faces. I see Jaywin here,
Yeah.
regular on the stream. We've got Tillman, also a regular.
Chase is back tonight. Let's go.
Chase is always fun.
Zach hasn't been on stream in a while, so he is back. It's been a long time for him. We may have a special friend joining us here soon if he responds to my text.
That'll be a lot of fun.
It would make this game very
We've got
entertaining.
Pete in the 2 seat.
Big country in the 2 seat. Pete.
Pete's always a lot of fun to play with. Very entertaining guy,
Oh, for sure. Great conversation.
and a lot of it.
People say I say off the wall stuff sometimes. You should play with Pete.
Big Daddy Chaz, another familiar face in the 5 seat tonight.
Just coming back from his main event run.
He's going to raise it up to 175 over what looks like a straddle.
Okay, so straddled. Under the gun. So,
And he's going to take it down.
yeah. Showing
Looked like a
strength. There he goes. Yeah, I
fairly
like it.
big sizing, which is interesting.
Show it.
Looks like we're 7-handed to start off. Should have a couple more people coming in shortly.
Yeah, yeah. Waiting on a few people. You know, it's the holiday week, so people have jobs, lives. You know, trying to work with everybody's schedule.
For those of you who don't know, Seth has been organizing these games for the last month now,
Yeah,
and he's
yeah,
been
about a month now.
in charge of these lists, so he knows better than anybody how hard it is to get 9 people here on time.
It's well, also you know, everyone knows we changed the start time recently, and yeah, not everyone adjusts all at once. So,
Right. I think it's a change for the better.
well, for sure.
We got a raise to 30 with a mystery hand here. We got a call from Big Country.
Oh, Pierre's waking up with pocket tens. Love it.
And Zach's going to complete with 7-3 off.
Chaz has a mystery hand.
One over to Pierre's tens.
I'm
Checks
curious
around.
what Chaz will. I'm curious, Austin, what Chaz has in his hand.
Should have a pretty wide range completing from the big blind here, I'd imagine. Probably nothing super nutted, but Zach picks up the open under here, so makes sense for him to go ahead and lead out at this.
Oh,
And Chaz is going to raise with his mystery hand.
Chaz, big blind special.
Chaz has a lot of really strong hands here.
For sure. Oh, he could even have 3-6.
Absolutely. He's got a lot of combo draws here.
Oh,
Wow.
shoot. Oh, if Chaz has a 3, this is going to be expensive.
Zach Rivers, defective nuts. I guess Chaz can have 7-8 here.
But
Interesting that he checks.
do you think Zach checks to disguise his hand? Although it looks like he's just about to call, not raise.
Interesting.
Oh. And what? Oh,
Oh, it
those
looks
hands
like
weren't
we've got
scanned in
a-
right. Okay. That's.
You know, that makes a lot of sense. I was,
Yeah, I was
a
confused
little
for a second.
confused. All right. Well, while we figure that out,
Yeah, I'll have to talk to the action tracker.
looks like we got a straddle on for this hand. I'd imagine that's going to be pretty consistent for this game.
Oh yeah,
We got a lot of people who like to play
these
some higher stakes here.
for sure.
And hopefully we'll see a lot of big pots tonight.
Oh, If this game does not get crazy, I will be very shocked tonight.
Chase gonna go ahead and get in here with his king-8 off, which is gonna start a cascade of callers here.
Okay, so
Gonna go 4 ways to a flop here.
4 ways to the flop.
Looks like pocket sixes in the lead. That's a pretty safe flop for pocket sixes.
For sure.
Checks the Zach on the button.
Expect Zach to be very aggressive in this pot. Pierre folds so he doesn't have 4. Yeah, he's probably just going to
And
take
take
that
this
down.
one down.
So, Austin, how's your life been lately? Again, playing a lot, I see. Doing well.
Good. Everything's
Yeah.
been good.
You're
No
originally
complaints.
from New England, right?
Up north, yep. From Boston. Little transplant into Austin, which doesn't seem super uncommon. I
No,
mean,
but a lot of
you
people.
don't see too many people that are from here.
A lot of people say California, Texas, but there's a lot of people moving from New England to Texas. It
Definitely.
seems like.
Get out of the cold, man.
That's why everyone's mad. Yeah, I stole that from Joe Rogan. Anyways, back to the game. We got a straddle on here. Looks like Jay Wynn is straddling.
And Chase hasn't put on the double straddle here, which is pretty surprising, having played with him.
Could this be a new
few
Chase
times.
we're seeing? Did Chase have a epiphany or something?
Jalen gonna go ahead and raise it up with his ace-10 off.
What did he make it?
I imagine he made it.
150. Oh yeah.
Doesn't make sense.
Well, once Chase calls, Pete is calling. Is this gonna be the night of big blind specials?
And I'm sure just as Jalen expected, he's gotten 3 callers. We're going
Yeah.
4-way to this bloated pot.
Well, yeah. If I'm Pierre, I'm calling with almost anything there. Getting a price if I hit. And you got to think
Ooh,
that.
that's a pretty interesting flop. We got Big Country bringing up top pair and a gutter. Jalen with top pair.
Chase with
Chase
the
got some backdoor
hearts.
hearts.
You know Chase is definitely going to float here. No, oh, he folded. Oh, I'm kind of shocked.
I think given that he's got 2 people behind him left to act,
Yeah.
maybe just incentivizes to be in that pot.
That would have been, yeah. Well, see, you know, if Chase would have floated now, he's definitely not going anywhere.
Interested to see what Pete's going to do here.
Right.
This board favors Pete more than Jalen. And
Oh, yeah,
after Jalen checks the turn, Pete can probably apply a lot of pressure on Jalen with a lot of his holdings. But unfortunately for him, Jalen happens to have top pair and he's not going anywhere.
no, you got to think that the 9 pairing the board slowed Jay-Win down a little bit.
And I think we're going to see check-check here a lot. Both players have too much showdown to really have any incentive to bluff. And there we go, check-check. And Jalen's going to take down a decent-sized pot to start off tonight.
Yeah. Yeah, you know, Pete definitely has all the 9s in his range. Any combination, really, so not surprised to see that go check-check. So, Austin, you like to golf, right?
I do.
Yeah, did you golf in college?
I played some in college. I actually I'm a golf instructor here in Texas during the day, which is pretty amazing given how much time that I spend here.
You know, one of these days I'm going to need golf lessons.
They're extra for you, Seth.
They're extra for me?
Yep.
That's okay.
David Pratt in the chat says, apparently having a kid has made Chase responsible. This is a tragedy. David Pratt is one of my favorite guys in town to play with. He's got a great sense of humor. He's always smiling, always laughing, always good for the game.
I always told Pratt he misses calling to be a comedian. He has one of the best dry sense of humor.
He really does. He really does.
I aspire to
Oh,
have
and right on cue, Jaywin has the David Pratt hand, the 4 deuce offsuit. Never loses.
Tillman doesn't realize he's dead in the water in this hand. Kidding, obviously. Oh, that's actually
It's
a really
pretty
interesting
flop here. Looks like it just limped around pre-flop.
And
So
it hit everybody. So
ranges are very wide here.
it literally hit everybody. Jay Wynn has the wheel draw.
Chase is
Tillman-
ahead with his pair of
pair
threes
of
right now,
threes.
but probably not feeling super confident about it.
Just give you a heads up, Austin. 8-3 is my least favorite hand.
It's not very good.
But right now it's in the lead. So
It is in the lead right now.
five
Tillman
of
gonna go
hearts,
ahead and keep
please.
betting,
5
and
or
It's probably going to fold around
never
here.
mind. Tillman wins.
And maybe Jaywin just doesn't know about the Pratt hand. I've got to imagine that if he knew, he wouldn't have folded.
Sorry, David Pratt. 4 deuce looked really good there, though.
Oh, I was gonna say, like, theoretically, if you're cashing a lot, you're like not maximizing your profit.
play them in 20 times, you cash.
We got Joel tuning in from Holland.
That was the rule, yeah.
Got an 8-hour time difference, so it's
Oh, wow.
1:38 over there.
I don't know if it's
So we appreciate you tuning in. That's some dedication.
Thank you for tuning in from Holland. Yeah. Let's.
David says no, the river was going to be a 5. Couldn't agree with you more, David.
Hey, I was calling it, David. 5 on the river.
I mean, it's a good foundation. I mean, if you're the type of player that is finding even means success, but then, yeah, then the next hurdle is like, okay, what am I doing?
So we got Chase in the big blind.
Speaking of Chase, he did just have a baby girl, so congratulations to Chase. That's pretty exciting for him.
For sure. Yeah, I don't know what it's like to have a kid, but I imagine it's exciting. Although now he plays less poker, so, you know, for us that love playing, Chase is just fun. He always good conversation, great guy.
Similar to David, he's always smiling, always talkative.
Even David might be smiling, doesn't mean it's a good smile. So right
we
now,
got 2
always
mystery hands here.
Chase with pocket 5s.
Got a very connected board.
I don't know which. Pick a side. 1 and 1.
Okay.
Chase gonna go ahead and bet his pocket 5s here.
See Pierre now with ace queen, ace of diamonds. Chaz.
And Chaz is gonna come along with another mystery hand.
trying to
and
play his best DQ impression tonight.
King on the turn.
Oh yeah. Oh, Pierre folded. Well,
Chase gonna go ahead and keep firing here. Betting 80 again.
I went to Vegas a couple of days. Just a friend of mine had a Vegas.
Interesting that he chooses the same sizing on the flop and the turn. I wonder what Chaz is gonna make of that.
I mean, Chaz has played with Chase.
And Chaz is gonna go ahead and to raise to 300.
You know, Chase could have anything here. He could have king 8.
And
he
that's
folds.
gonna get
Never
through.
mind.
Did I ever sell my card?
And Big Daddy Chaz gonna
And
apply some aggression.
shows ace 10 with the best hand there.
Yeah, exactly. I look up and it's, it's my height. Like my height. 5'10", something like that.
Okay, so we're still waiting on 2 players. They will hopefully be here momentarily.
Yeah, was there a restaurant Cosmopolitan?
Austin, would you like a shot of bourbon?
Sure. We've got some regards from Poland of a name that I can't pronounce, and I'm not even gonna try. But we appreciate you tuning in as well.
Oh yeah, don't ask me to say that.
We're gonna brush over that one.
I'm happy just to be able to speak English.
I mean, barely. So we got a straddle. We got a raise from Big Daddy with 10-8 suited to 75.
Oh, it's a girl. Oh, okay. I thought it was a boy.
Aye.
Oh, yeah, you did. Yeah.
And he's going to take it down.
That's good for a girl. You want
I'm
a big
interested
boy, you
that,
don't
to
want
see
a
that
big
Jalen
boy.
folded 7-8 on the button there. I wonder if sometime, if the suited variety is a 3-bet for him.
Yeah, I mean, I've definitely seen him 3-bet with those type of hands before. So.
Suited connectors are going to be pretty good to put into that button 3-betting range, but I imagine the offsuit variety he thinks is just a little too loose.
Right.
That's insane. That's insane. Yeah, that's good.
There you go. Cheers. Shot of Basil Hayden.
We're living good. Living good back here.
Babies are
Oh,
like,
oh.
when you run good, it's the best.
And we've got the straddle to 50 from Tillman. So this game is already starting to ramp up a little bit, just as we had expected.
David, here's your excuse. We're starting to drink back here. This is going to get pretty lit. Just give it time. Yeah, I'm going to be making some old fashions in the booth.
Peter from London, how's it going? Thanks for tuning in.
It's going to be pretty epic.
And our friend from Poland has told us that it's easy to pronounce, and then posted something that looks debatably more difficult to pronounce. Seth, you want to give it your best shot?
I would do the last name, not the first name.
And
Big Daddy Chaz here. Oh, yes. Action. Top pair, second pair. Tillman's got a flush draw.
Chaz with the backdoor flush draw as well.
This could get juicy.
Pretty interesting turn card here. And the river brings in the flush for Tillman. He just gets there.
Ooh. Do you think though Tillman checking behind both times?
And
It's an interesting way to play that.
Chaz bets out. It looks like Chaz bet out Tillman raised
Tillman just-
and Chaz folded.
I think Tillman just called.
Interesting.
Or maybe he did race. I'm not sure.
I think it looked like he raised. It
Yeah.
looked like Chaz was thinking.
Your hand is kind of, you're playing it face up at that point, don't you think? When you check behind twice with a flush draw.
I think so, but I also think that the queen eye flush is still good enough to raise there.
Oh no, for sure. But like Chaz knows you hit your flush.
I think when Chaz leads the river and Tillman raises,
Yeah.
he's not feeling very good about his two pair there.
Yeah.
So I think that makes a lot of sense. I think hands like Chaz's there are good hands to lead there because you did get called a lot by hands that are worse, and then if you get raised, you can pretty easily fold knowing that your hand isn't best. And a lot of the times, Tillman's going to check behind his one pair hands that would call a bet there. So
Right.
I actually like that play a lot from Chaz.
Hey, we got Derek finally
And Derek's here.
joining us.
Got another one of my favorite guys to play with. Looks like we got Pete on the button, raising it up to 125 with his king 10 off. And Chase is in there with his queen deuce offsuit. Basically a coin flip here.
JTN, I don't know about NSFW, but it'll be fun. It'll be fun. I can tell you this, probably no
Hey, Stuart Parker, how's it going?
physics talks tonight, so. Hello, Stuart.
And that's a pretty interesting turn after the flop goes check, check. We
Oh,
got
yeah.
Chase picking up a gutter and Pete picking up second pair with the gutter as well. It's going to go bet call, and let's see if Chase decides that a 2 is enough showdown value, and I think he does. And
Yeah.
Pete's going to go ahead and take it down with his king.
This is, I didn't expect this conservative play from these two players, honestly.
You know, that's going to be a really hard card for Chase to bluff there, because Pete's going to have all the better hands given
Oh, yeah.
the way that
and
the hand was played.
He's playing a
And
aggressive, loose player.
I think that Chase and Pete have played with each other enough to
Yeah.
have an idea of what's going on. So Seth, how do these loyalty points work?
Okay, so you get loyalty points from watching the stream. And you have to keep watching. Um, you just have to keep watching to attain loyalty points. I just gamble them. I don't. I don't have any intent of actually like cashing them in for merch or anything like that. But
We do have some good merchandise going here, though. Recently, we just got some hoodies in. They're really soft. You'll see them around if you come in.
yes,
They're all around the room.
those are great.
And I actually got a shirt the other day, and
Yep.
they're actually very comfortable.
They are. I love the material that we use.
So these loyalty points aren't
Yes.
worth nothing.
The other day in my birthday game, we had a V-pip
All right.
competition. That was from where that was from. Oh, this is.
We got a 3-bet from Chaz. Looks like it's going to get through, I'd imagine.
I mean, yeah, J1 folds. No? Okay. J1, I can see him calling this. Nope, he
I
folds.
think against such a... Chaz is using a pretty big sizing here out of position. I think J-Win's less incentivized to call.
Right. Mm-hmm.
They're playing relatively deep, but I think that's going to be a little bit splashy, especially given that he's got a chase behind.
Yeah, I might have to get out of this booth and go serve them some alcohol to get this game, get these players.
It's been a bit of a slow start, but we've had a few interesting hands.
For sure.
I think we haven't seen too many hands getting made, and so that's mostly contributing to.
I also, do you
nature
have
of
a
the
bottle
start.
opener on your keys?
Not even that.
And so Chase is going to go ahead and raise his 8-6 off to 125. Tillman calling the small blind with a suited ace.
It's fast. I mean, this is the fastest card I've ever been.
And we got this guy in here with ace-3 off. So we have some speculative holdings here.
Okay, what we got here?
And it looks like a flop where aggression is probably just going to win it, seeing as nobody has much of anything. Chase ahead right now with his pair of sixes.
Chase definitely feels good right now.
Going to go ahead and bet. And I think he's going to take this one now.
Yeah.
And so that's a great example of how position and aggression can just win you pots.
Right. And he shows the 6. Says, hey, see, I had it.
And he did. Stuart Parker asks, Wendy's fries dipped in a Frosty, yay or nay?
Oh, yeah.
I'm in the nay camp for that one.
Oh, I don't know how else you eat fries from Wendy's.
I mean, I think I eat fries with ketchup, and that works for me. But
I mean, if I'm anywhere else, for sure, but I forget
I just
when
think
learned
that the cold makes it a little bit weird.
No, it's great, man. You should try it.
I have tried it.
Oh,
and
well.
I don't like it that much.
I'm sorry.
Yes, that.
You're missing out.
I
I'm
don't
sorry
think
your
so.
taste buds don't like you.
All right, we got some shots fired in the booth.
Oh, not you, your taste buds.
All right, Seth is
Separate.
attacking my chase buds.
Two entities there.
And Zach's going to come in for a raise with an unknown hand right now. After Pete limps his king-queen off.
I mean, he's under the gun +2. It's not bad. You want to see what, I don't know. I like king queen off. I don't know. I like
I have
it.
no problem with V-pipping king-queen off. It's, got 2 Broadway cards. Tillman coming in with his 4s. And let's see a flop 3 ways.
You just ask somebody else to ask you.
And pretty whiffy board. We're not sure what Zach has right now. Tillman gonna go ahead and bet his pocket fours here. This is a pretty interesting hand to choose to bet for Tillman.
For sure.
I think Zach has a pretty clear range advantage here, and I think that given that he's in the middle of oh wow,
Hey,
what a
Tillman
turn
knew
card!
it was coming. He knew.
He knew it.
Hey, you know it'd be sick if Zach had 5-6 right now. I want all the action. Let's go.
Definitely in his range. He can also definitely have aces here, which would be pretty
about
exciting.
Ace-7 suited of
But
spades.
I think that ace-7 probably bets the
Nope.
flop, and there you go.
You know, it's kind of fun trying to guess hands.
They used to have that segment on the World
Yeah.
Series of Poker, that Jack Link's beef jerky
I've-
mystery hand.
I've
I would
thought
love
about
that,
trying
man.
to figure that out. But then again, the players do it for us most of the time anyways.
Yeah. Also, given the nature of poker here in Texas, it's a lot harder to put people on ranges, given how wide people
For
like
sure,
to play.
for sure.
But I guess that makes it more fun.
Yeah.
You just never know what people are gonna have.
And when you call their hand sometimes, then you blow their minds. It's fun.
But that's few and far between. We don't have any Daniel Negreanu's out here.
Hey, that one night I did, that guy still messes with his head. He still can't believe it. David Pratt. Somebody tell Pete that.
The Sea Captain beard is awesome, and he needs to run with it.
Punch was the second punch that did it, right?
That looks like a 9-year-old. Like you
We're just gonna not touch that one.
Yeah, I mean, his, yeah, beard.
Everybody's entitled to their own opinion.
I don't know. I'm sure Pete would laugh at that. Stewart says no other reason to bother with Wendy's. You know, the burgers aren't bad. Good.
Joel Wemmer is talking about a frikandel special. Never heard of that. Delicious Dutch snack. So Joel, if you ever pop into TCH in Austin, you're gonna have to bring us some of some frikandel.
Yeah, Joe, I'll eat almost anything once. Almost. Take that how you
Civil War General seems more fitting for Pete.
want. I like that, yeah.
Pierre gonna go ahead and raise this one up. I think in general, 3-betting out of the small blind versus the late position open makes a lot of sense. Tough to play hands out of position.
3-betting out of the small blind usually says your hand is very strong. So Chaz, we don't know what Chaz or Pierre has, but
Short, like curly hair.
So generally, this hand is gonna favor the 3-bet caller
for sure.
because he's more likely to have suited hands, and he's more likely to have Jack 8, King Jack here,
Oh yeah,
as
King
well
Jack.
as
Yeah.
Queen 10, 9, 10.
Except he doesn't.
Pierre's gonna go ahead and c-bet and take it down. Not to say that Pierre can't have strong hands there. He obviously
Right.
has Queens, Ace, King of Hearts,
We're doing really bad at calling these hands because everyone keeps folding.
etc., etc. Well, there's also a lot of hands in Chaz's range that miss that flop.
For
Right?
sure.
I think he probably calls a lot of his
Suited connectors.
suited connectors, middling pairs, middling to low pairs.
Or anything.
Probably has some suited aces in there that whiff.
JTN asked when we're going to have a broth bomb tonight. I will have a broth bomb if the Steam Doula shows his face. He is MIA.
I haven't seen him in a while.
I have not. He's yeah. He might be. He's MIA. Could be a POW of an Italian restaurant.
I
Who
know.
knows? Who knows?
He was
But-
working hard on his golf game, so maybe
also-
he's been
Oh, really?
spending more time doing that.
Yeah.
The best two straddlers
You're,
are absolutely.
you're not going to go pro, so just play more poker.
He's not even a close third. In my,
Jay Wynn from the small blind gonna fold, and it looks like Chase is gonna Chase is going to raise with his queen 10 suited, and Pete is going to fold.
Yeah, Pete was never calling there.
But it
Joel.
is, there's another, Steam Dola is another fun guy to play with.
Joel says you can Google it. Of course we can. And it's a fried snack. Well, that should. I'm surprised we don't have that in America. Everything's fried here. Yeah, Steam Dola needs to. We need to go save him, I think.
Misunderstood. Keep your bet.
Hey, Robert, how's it going? Good to see you back.
Is it the same ones you wore for 2 months with a coma? Those were the same ones.
I wonder where our friend is, Austin.
I think he said he was going to show up at some point. So Chaz has got ace queen here.
He said
Open up the
7.
75 under the gun. J-Win with 10s on the button. I'd expect a 3-bet here a lot of the time.
I don't
Oh,
know
he's
why.
going to flat. Interesting.
I love pocket tens for some reason.
I mean, pocket 10s is a great hand because it's hard to get into a lot of trouble with them, right?
And you
Either
can
flop-
also disguise it, right?
Either that's the nice thing with sort of like 7s through 10s, I feel. Like you're never really confused as to where you stand, right?
Oh, and
Wow,
then you
and
think it.
Jay just smashes it. Might be tough for him to get paid by anything.
Yeah, no one has
No one has much of anything.
2 hearts. This is where you gotta check and let someone catch up, right? Oh, then nope.
Interesting that Chaz is
Okay.
gonna bet into 4 other people here. I think having the ace of hearts probably you're gonna want to have the ace of hearts if you're gonna do this.
See, this is the thing about seeing the hands. We know Chaz doesn't have anything.
Sure. But this flop is gonna favor all the callers a lot more.
True.
And J-Win's gonna raise and take it down. I'm interested to see that J-Win raises there.
Yeah,
I think that a lot of the times you could trap with a hand as strong as 10s there, but
well, you almost want to let them catch up a little bit, and you're hoping that maybe.
I think Chaz is also going to have a lot of ace king, ace queen type hands there.
For sure.
Ace jack hand. He's not going to have too many strong hands there.
Trapping, it's a hard thing to master, and doing it at the right time is the hardest part.
But I'm sure Jay's also thinking that he wants to build a pot there.
For sure.
So
Yeah.
that makes sense.
What's his name, Bob?
This guy. Do you know where that nickname comes from? I do not.
I don't either. If anybody in the chat knows, let us know. J-Win waking up with another hand in the cutoff. Going to come in for a raise to 75. Looks like that's the agreed upon opening size in general.
So our friend just told me 7:30.
And everybody's going to fold. J-Win going to take it down.
So we
Got some
see.
interesting stack sizes.
Yeah, it's a good variety tonight. Our friend Slicer is not here with us tonight, but he will be back next week, I believe. Chaz is back from being out in Vegas. Pete is back from who knows where. So how long does it take for water to freeze?
I don't know. It's a good question.
It is. I'm trying a time when I can go get the ice. Start making these cocktails.
This guy under the gun with ace jack of hearts.
Mandate their employees to vote them number 1.
Gonna come in for a raise. Pierre's gonna flat. Pretty big raise. This is a pretty big open from under the gun. I think in general it makes sense to open bigger from the more out of position you are. I'm interested to see Pierre call. I wonder what his calling range looks like here.
Yeah, I think Pierre's generally
Given that he has so many people behind that can squeeze, I would think that it's probably tighter than if this were a later configuration. So I'd imagine that he's got a lot of pocket pairs in his range, plus some suited connectors, but I'm not sure.
right. I'm curious if Pierre is trapping our friend Derek.
And so this is a relatively good flop for ace jack,
For sure.
but it's not a great flop for
My first hand I won under the light.
for an interesting. So ace jack is one of those hands that can get you into some trouble, huh?
Yeah,
You
yeah.
flop top pair with ace jack, and
I made a really bad fold Thursday. Ace jack. You were in that hand, Austin.
I was. I got stacked.
I know. I wish you would have flatted. Flat the flop. You don't lose your money.
He's asking because we had a.
I wish I could hear what they're talking about because Chaz is laughing a lot. And that. So
We got some crypto talk in the chat. Seth, are you into crypto at all?
I can talk about it. I don't have much though.
Gotcha.
I've done some swing trading with it.
There's so many different ways that people interact with crypto. It's pretty interesting. I mean, almost everybody has some sort of, interaction with it. So
Yeah, I had a really bad beat with crypto, so kind of like lost interest for a while.
that makes sense. So we got looks like a limp pot around.
Yeah, Chase.
This guy has a mystery hand. Chase ahead with his king high.
Yeah, don't know what this guy has, but oh, I get it now.
And Chase is going to go ahead and take it down.
We're not playing that game tonight. Why not? Let's play that Flopposaurus game.
Chris King says bad beat equals you bought at the highs. I agree with that.
No, bad beat was a rug pull. Thank you. Thank you for reminding me.
Let's do it. Let's do it.
I'm just kidding. No, I did get rug pulled. It hurt a lot. I hope to go to Belgium someday.
I would love to go out there.
Next year, Austin, let's just both get heads up in the main event, then we can just travel.
Yeah, we'll skip this one.
Only if I win.
Nah, we'll chop.
Take the card.
No, this is what you do. We chop the money and play for the bracelet.
Like it's second hand.
And
What was it? 10,000. What was the $10 for 10,000? 5 3 of spades. It was the most
Some
satisfying.
Shiba
got some
talk.
folds around.
Not really anybody waking up with anything yet.
Yeah. So
And
stick will give you 1,000 to 1.
We haven't seen a cooler
That
yet.
card you're gonna have next hand.
Pierre's going to go ahead and raise this up
$10 for 10.
with his mystery hand. And this guy's going to come in for a call with his queen 5 off. And we're going to see a flop heads up.
Spades, and then Westlake was in a hand. He puts the hands on the rail, then I'm holding on to this. Yeah.
I love these flops when it hits you all around but doesn't hit you at all. I'm being sarcastic, of course.
More hands.
Don't know what Pierre has.
This guy,
Pierre definitely has kings, tens in his hand. Not pocket, but a king, a 10, ace, ace 10, queen jack.
going to lead out here
Wow.
with 3 to flush, 3 to a straight.
Yeah.
$10 per hand. So you give him 100 for the
Just
whole.
playing dangerously.
Well, I remember him doing it per orbit a while back.
I think in general it's very hard to balance a leading range,
It is, yeah.
especially on the flop, given this configuration. But I think that if you were gonna pick hands to lead, having
Well,
a few backdoor draws would be good hands to do it with. But this is maybe a little bit out there. But let's see if he can maneuver his way. And he's gonna go in river queen
he
versus the
probably,
mystery hand.
he's probably not putting Pierre on a king because Pierre would have bet.
I mean, I could totally imagine him going.
The turn.
To bet the turn, yes.
He's a
Unless Pierre is putting
I
him
think
on
a lot of the
four.
times it's strange for Pierre when you get let into,
Yep.
and he's just gonna take it down. It looks like with the queen. So pretty interesting hand there. Let's keep an eye on that dynamic, since those two are going to be playing a lot of blind versus blind hands, which you know, with all the straddling that goes on, can turn into some very interesting hands
For
with
sure,
some very
for sure.
interesting dynamics as you go on. And I think that those are the hands where you're, encouraged to play sort of the widest ranges, and so it leads to some very interesting things that happen.
For sure.
Especially when you get the 5, 10, 25, 50, 100, right? And you've got all the dead money in there.
Yeah.
What is 2
I'll be right back, Austin.
All right. So I'm going to be solo with y'all for a little bit. Zach's going to come in for a raise here with ace jack of clubs. And this guy's going to wake up with pocket queens from the small blind. Let's see how he plays this one. Going to raise it up to 300. And Jaywin, king queen of clubs here. Jaywin is in a tough spot here, facing a 3-bet and with the pre-flop aggressor behind him. I think sometimes you could put this hand into your 4-betting range, but it's also not crazy to fold here. And Chase has a suited ace. Imagine he's going to come in for the call. And Zach's got an interesting decision here.
what is it today?
I think that all of his options there are fine. And let's see a flop in this 3-bet pot 3 ways. Wow. Zach's going to go ahead and flop top pair on Jack 6-6, which he's probably thinking is a pretty good flop for him. And this guy's sitting here with pocket queens, and he's also loving that flop, so let's see what happens. He's going to go ahead and continue betting. And Chase is going to fold. And Zach, now with an interesting decision. If he calls, he's going to have less than a pot-sized bet left, which makes the SPR for this hand pretty interesting. I don't know that Zach is ever really able to get away from this hand. Obviously, if this guy goes all in here, he's not loving it, but I don't think that you can fold. Let's see what sizing this guy uses here. Looks like Zach has about $1,000 behind, and the pot's already 2.1. So he's going to go ahead and bet about 700 here. And Zach now. Looks like Zach is actually playing a little bit more than our graphics say. Oh, he's got 2 pink chips there. Okay, so he's a lot deeper than the graphics say. So he's going to go ahead and call. It's going to be the 8 of spades. And I think that this guy is just going to go ahead and jam it in. And given the odds, I don't know how Zach can play this one now. Pretty much a mini cooler here, Seth, I would say.
Yeah, it's a tough spot. You probably don't put Zach on a 6, so
Well, I think for
this guy, so you're feeling really
for
good.
this guy, you're feeling great about your hand.
Zach thinks. I mean, I'm sorry. I meant to say Zach doesn't put this guy on a 6.
Oh, he's
So-
gonna check it, and
Try to trap.
I think Zach here has a pretty easy check back. I don't know what's. Oh,
He goes
wow,
all in.
Really interesting. He gets snap
Ship
call.
it.
Wow. That's interesting. I don't know.
Yeah, you don't.
If I-
You can't fold queens there, so you just.
Right. That shove by Zach is really interesting because I don't know that he's getting called by worse, and I don't know that he's getting better to ever fold.
Nope, you're definitely not. You're definitely not going to get, queens or better to fold. So.
And I don't know if he's getting called by worse there. So
No.
I don't know.
I mean, Jack 10's not calling there. Jack Queen probably isn't, right? Like. what
But
do
maybe
you-
he has a read on this guy where he thinks that maybe he's going to call a little lighter.
For sure.
Um,
I've never played with Derek, so you can inform me what his tendencies are if you like.
but sure. Being said, that being said though, for Zach, that's a pretty tough spot because I think from like a theoretical perspective, I don't know how many better hands he has there either, right? But I don't know if that means that you have to. Be jamming that river.
That's a yeah.
I think it's a little bit thin.
Yeah, I missed most of the hands, so
It was a 3-bet pot, and this guy bet the flop on the turn and then checked the river. And I think that a lot of this guy's give-ups there, you beat with ace-jack anyways, and are just going to fold when you jam. And I think a lot of the hands that he calls with have you beat.
okay. So I gotta step out again. Our friend has arrived. I gotta go get him set up. I'll be right back.
All right, so it looks like the action's starting to heat up a little bit.
Very generous.
David Pratt says, get the show canceled while Seth is out. I'm on my best behavior tonight, David. No can do. Oh, it's Zach's turn to play the queens. There's some justice in the world here. And we've got Chaz coming in for the call with 9-10 suited. I think that's a very reasonable hand to put into your calling range. Chase with ace-5. Gonna go ahead and call. And let's see this flop 3 ways. King 7-3. Zach's still ahead with his queens. Gonna go ahead and check it to Big Daddy Chaz. I'm sure he doesn't love the overcard, but I think a lot of the times you probably have to see one more card, and it looks like that's exactly what's gonna happen here. And the turn is a jack, and I'm interested to see whether or not Chaz continues the bet here. He hasn't.
Oh, but we want to tell him and put him on tilt. Yeah, you gotta tell him to put him on tilt. Exactly. Then he's gonna call.
He's picked up a double gutter here. And so I think this bet makes a lot of sense. And once Jack Zach checks the flop. I think that he's not going to have too many nutted hands on this board.
We're just playing.
Whatever the worst can happen.
Yes, yeah, that.
Oh, and the river is a queen. Wow, that's so sick. Zach's going to go in river a set of queens. And Chaz is going to go in a river straight. Pretty disguised straight here as well. And he's going to shove and Zach's going to call. And oh man, that was a tough 2 hands for Zach. Oof, cold deck. Wow. Wow, wow, wow. That is brutal. And so he loses the queens and then he loses with queens. So the lady's not treating Zach very well.
Straight. You missed your king too.
I don't care. What a sick river.
Oh, there was a king on the flop. King 7-3.
Man, what a tough beat for Zach there. There's nothing you can do there. Sometimes in poker you just lose.
That's an expensive phone call.
$25 phone call.
Here's the first card.
He hit a set of queens. He hated us with that, but they really gave him a set. He got it straight. He got it straight.
You would have got
About salmon.
This is one of those hotline phone calls. Like $5 a minute. How old is your daughter?
Chaz gonna go ahead and raise it up with a Mr. Hand to 60.
Yeah, that's how it works.
Interesting that his opening size changed. I assume that there is no straddle here, or maybe the straddle was just to 20. I'm not sure.
It's a tough age, right?
And Chase with
Teenager
a
girl.
premium,
Yeah, it's a tough age.
gonna make it 425.
16-year-old.
Yeah, wow. That's terrifying.
And I think he's gonna get this one through. This guy thinking about it with ace 4 off.
That's awesome. Oh man, that's like the nuts of teenage girls right there.
And he's gonna get it through.
She's just like naturally just gets in.
And he's gonna show.
That's awesome, man. Nice job, Pete.
6 suited.
Yeah. Yeah. Such good practice.
And Mr. Durden says, after that queen on river, I can finally smash that like button, and I encourage everybody else who hasn't already to do the same. Tune into the stream for some good action. I imagine that this game will continue getting better and better as money starts to move around. We haven't seen much from Chase so far, and I imagine that is going to change as the night continues to go on. And it looks like Zach is done, and I can't blame him after those 2 hands.
Particular set of skills.
Yes, thank you.
She's staying hostels and stuff.
You missed that part.
What's going on here? Oh, okay.
It's called 25, right?
She what?
And we've got a raise from Pierre with a mystery hand. And Chase is going to 3-bet with pocket 8s. And Pierre's going to go ahead and call.
Give him a grand, you get the 40 VPIP special.
And we're going to go to a flop, heads up.
I'm 8. I'm seat 8, right?
And Pierre has a suited connector here. Let's see the 8 of the hearts on board.
Yeah, move me there, right? Thank you.
You're welcome.
Wow, interesting flop here. Pierre flops top pair with a gutter and a backdoor flush draw, and Chase has an overpair to the board. Chase has got to be thinking that's a pretty safe board for him, and he's going to go ahead and bet.
I drink it, but not often, man.
And he's going to choose a big sizing.
They got a Chianti and Syrah.
I don't think Pierre can really fold here. And I think given the sizing that Chase chose, I think call is the only thing that makes sense. And we're going to see a turn. Wow, and Pierre picks up a flush draw now as well. And Chase checks. Well, Pierre checks it back as well. And Chase fades the world. And is going to win this pot as long as it goes to showdown. Chase going to go ahead and bet.
You want a Malibu shot over there?
Bet small, and
I'll be in Malibu. I'll do a shot with you.
I wonder if Pierre thinks that he has enough showdown to call here.
Derek, I'll take a shot. Is there
Pretty interesting spot for Pierre when Chase bets so big on the flop and then comes out with such a small bet on the river.
only if you lay on the table.
It's an Audi.
And he's going to go ahead and fold.
Top pair?
Pocket
Yeah, I missed some draws on this end.
And Chase takes down a nice pot there with his pocket eights. Shout out to Steam Dola. I'm not sure which combo that is, but
I know how to bet it. What to make it look like there.
Yeah,
I'll do with my eights there, you know.
I sixes, pair of sixes, the flush draw on the 10.
All right, shall we take this shot? Absolutely. Yeah. Cheers. Cheers to Derek. Happy birthday. Happy birthday, Derek.
First one, yeah, that makes
Start
sense.
calling us the Malibu brothers yet? Oh, that's awesome.
My big.
we got some talk about Socrates in the chat. So it looks like we're getting pretty philosophical. We're going to stick to poker in the booth though. And so we've got just a flat call with Queen 10 suited from this guy. Chase on the button here. 6 deuce. And he's going to lay it down. No word on the 7 deuce game tonight.
Okay, yeah, I figured. I didn't know if you were calling down with that. Oh, look.
That'd be excellent. I like that, Mike.
And Tillman's going to wake up with aces. And he's just going to check. Very interesting. So he's going to trap here. And we're going to go 4 ways to flop. And that's a pretty safe flop here.
Yeah, right? 10-9?
10-9. Off suits my hand.
Yeah, yeah. I was actually surprised you played the suited right.
Tillman going to go ahead and bet out his aces now. And going to go with about a pot size bet. A little bit more.
I should have bet pre-flop, but I looked at my card.
Wow, and Chaz is going to make a pretty speculative call here with a gutter and backdoor diamonds. And he's going to turn a diamond. Tillman does not have the ace of diamonds. We're going to go check, check. And let's see if Chaz is going to decide to turn this into a bluff.
Actually, both. Now I'm curious.
And Chaz is going to check, maybe thinking that his river 4 was enough showdown value. And Tillman's going to take it down with aces. And so I think he probably made the max there. Just trapping his aces, which is
Win-loss, right? Yeah. Are you playing the handicap?
a tough. It's a tough strategy to play, but
What the hell? You're giving somebody huge
if you're capable of folding aces on boards that don't favor you or action that doesn't favor you, I think that it's okay sometimes.
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. I thought he was talking about the team. I was like, holy shit, you're giving guys a lot of money. I know you're crazy, but yeah. No, that's okay. Yeah, that is. What a rush.
That out here, I don't know. I mean, I've been playing this game like they're playing right now.
hand, Chase.
Oh, he plays
So,
I've learned not to be so stupid with 7 deuce. Like,
no, I gotta tell you.
after a couple times of punting, I'm like, what the hell am I doing?
I was
with 7
playing
deuce?
Thursday night with
Chase gonna wake up with ace 10 of hearts
and he bets like
in the cutoff. Gonna raise it to 75.
75.
Asian Josh?
And it's gonna fold to this guy in the straddle with ace 3 suited, and I assume he's gonna call. And we're gonna
And the flop comes 7-7-7.
see a flop. I think a lot of the time, or some of the time, you could think about 3-betting that,
No, so he's laughing. He's like, this is so. But this before.
but call seems to make a lot of sense as well.
You know, and they're like, yeah, whatever.
Wow, and Chase flops the joint. But it's gonna be really tough to get any value.
Somebody had a pair there.
What a flop for Chase.
I thought you were playing.
Did he get any action post flop?
No, after post flop, no.
Oh, really?
And Chase is gonna bet, and he's gonna get a fold.
He bet and
He's
the guy
telling me he
folded.
checked the flop. Oh, man, throw an ace out there. You got 2 other people. Somebody probably has it.
I agree. But it was just coming.
Some people don't know how to handle their buddies.
No, I have one of the flops.
Hell yeah, that's a sign. I know you love So if we do, hey, if we miss the flop, then you don't get paid, right?
Yeah.
The turn comes and you don't catch it.
Yeah, you
it's
gotta,
over.
you gotta call it.
Oh, y'all are even.
You missed the 5 years.
Really?
So Chase picks up ace jack here in the hijack.
I've been
I
here.
thought he was gonna start crying.
Gonna go ahead and raise it up.
So if the turn
And Pete's gonna come in for a call with his queen jack suited.
The second the turn hit.
And we're gonna see a flop 3 ways here.
That's the only reason why I'm here. I never come out at night.
Is this, sorry, oh wait.
King 7-4, big whiff for everybody. Big Country's got a backdoor flush, backdoor straight draw. And he's gonna turn 4 to flush here. So I think that if this checks around to him, he can go ahead and take a stab at this, given that the other 2 players have shown some weakness. But it looks like this guy's going to come out and fire out here with his open-ended straight draw. And let's see how Pete's going to play this one. And he's just going to call.
I'll take 3.
Wow, and he rivers it. But it's going to be tough to get any value here. Pete with his draw. 3 of hearts would have been a fun card.
How about this?
And he's going to bet super, super, super small. And I think Pete still has to fold here, though. And he's going to show the ace of diamonds.
Absolutely.
Yeah, he never gets to play that.
Absolutely.
It's like, you gotta play the stupid. Like,
I don't plan a week.
Actually, I always get birthday around. I mean, I think you and I typically same time, like 6, 7.
that was your birthday. You gotta play this.
I didn't let anyone know until my wife put it on Facebook on our
Yeah, you gotta celebrate your birthday now.
Yeah, you got you're laughing, buddy. You're weaning down. You gotta celebrate it.
Yeah, that's why. I usually play when I'm supposed
Why wouldn't you do the 100?
All right, we got the 50 on from Chase here, and this is sort of what we've been expecting to see.
Where you going?
And let's see how this changes the dynamic of the game. It looks like we've got a new player sitting down. And wow, we've got the $100 and $200 straddle on.
right now I'd be $2 straight. $7.99 a pound. HEB is like $12.
So there's a $200 straddle on this hand. Fill it to this guy in the small blind.
Yeah, I just
And he's got a mystery hand. So when the games get crazy like this, with the straddles, it makes the dynamic of the game really interesting because it shortens everybody's stack up. Oh, and he wakes up with aces. And Chaz in the $200 straddle has 6 deuce off. And he can't defend here. But what I was saying is the straddles make the game really interesting because in theory they dramatically decrease stack sizes in terms of big blinds. But a lot of the times people don't change their strategy enough, and so it creates a really interesting dynamic of how people are playing when there's a big round of straddles on.
Yeah, I remember when my buddy, this dude that's just like, I have no idea where I'm going.
Yeah, that's pretty much what I'm at right now. Like, I was in New York, then Florida, then final.
Good luck, man. How did the interview go?
Pretty well. Classic interview.
And it looks like we have another familiar face sitting down. A good friend of both Seth and I. Likes to go by Faker on the stream. Good to see him here.
And I'm back.
He's going to be great for the action. And if somebody could just tell him that his big chips need to go in front, I think we'd be all set. And this game should get really interesting here.
I'm back, Austin. How are you?
Good, good.
Cheers.
You missed a few fun hands. And Chase with the $200 straddle. And this game is heating up, ladies and gentlemen.
Here we go.
This is going to be a lot of fun. Buckle up.
This is a chase that we know.
This is what we were expecting tonight. Here we go.
Why can't you be the guy who struggles the most?
But like I was saying, Seth, so in theory,
So what were you saying? I was getting our friend Faker
Sure.
ready.
in theory here, right, with a $200 straddle, if you're playing a 3K stack, you have 15 big blinds. But I think a lot of people
Correct.
aren't going to play like that. They're going to play more thinking about the stakes that they're used to, and so it creates a really interesting dynamic because I think that some players are thinking about the hand in terms of being 15 big blinds and others aren't. And so sometimes you see these really wide ranges that you wouldn't normally see, and that's juxtaposed with a lot of players playing a lot tighter than they normally would as well. And so we got looks like a raise to 400 from Tillman with ace queen off. Seems pretty reasonable. And this guy's gonna call on the button with king 10.
King
And
10.
Chase is gonna complete with a mystery hand. Interesting to see that pair folded queen jack suited to such a small sizing, but I guess
Was it spades?
it was not spades, it was
Okay.
diamonds. And this flop is going to give Tillman top pair. This guy's got middle pair with
Backdoor.
some speculative backdoors.
Runner, yeah.
Tillman going to go ahead and bet out here for 500. A little less than half pot. And this is going to be an interesting board to navigate for Tillman if he gets called by either of these players here. Ace Queen, obviously a very strong hand. And he's going to get a fold from this guy. And Chase with his 4 deuce. It's going to lay it down, and Tillman's going to take down a nice pot here.
Yeah, nice. Good for Tillman.
What was your biggest change in life after your thing? No. I'm asking after you had that COVID thing. What the thing you changed the most?
Here we see our cumulative winnings.
So how this
So we
guy
got-
is leading the pack up 2.7.
Not too much going on so far. It's been a reasonable game. The sickest hand that we've seen so far, probably the rivered straight, first rivered set.
Anything you wish you'd done more when you thought you I don't want to hit you with some deep. It's an interesting situation.
And we're back to 5-10-25. We got our new player, AJ, here. I don't know much about him.
It's been a while since he's been on stream.
Played with him a few times. And this guy wakes up with queens again. Ooh, living good. Living good.
Feels good to run good.
Ladies, it's going to make it 100.
That's the point if you had
Jaywin with ace-8 suited.
That's exactly
Gonna lay it down.
what you're praying for.
I'd be interested to see what J1 did with that in a different configuration. I think that maybe if he was on the button there, maybe that's a 3-bet sometimes.
Maybe.
But
Probably save himself some money though.
definitely. But interesting to know.
You had that time of COVID? Wait, for real? Oh, shit. Holy shit.
He won a flush draw. He hit a flush draw for a little bit. No, like you were saying 20% of live, right? 25. He hit a flush draw.
David Pratt throwing me right under the bus.
What did he do this time?
He said that you should have been here to listen. Austin was telling us all about religion and politics while you were away.
I can only imagine.
You don't want to work more.
Can we kick people out of the chat, Seth?
Would you like me to kick Pratt out?
No. And we've got an open to 75 from this guy, who's been very active so far. And a couple calls, and so we're going to see a flop 3 ways.
But yeah, when you're catching queens constantly, it's easy to live.
And we're not sure what anybody has yet,
They didn't change our sheets for 6 days.
but looks like this guy has king jack off, maybe?
We wrote a letter and complained to you.
And we're still not sure. Action trackers being a little finicky. Give us a second to figure it out. There we go. We got Chase playing the Mosquito Josh special. And Big Country going to go ahead and flop the best of it here. And he's going to go ahead and bet his top pair. This guy going to lay it down. And I think that one's going to get through. And there we go. P picks up a pot.
3 cases and me, my wife, my buddy are in. Well, no, they don't tell you.
And Pratt says he's leaving on his own. We're sad to see you go.
No,
It's been
come
fun
back,
talking
Pratt.
with you.
I'll talk more, I promise.
Jokes aside,
That's a good thing, right?
we always have a lot of fun with David.
I love David Pratt.
For the public record.
Enjoy your dinner, David.
All right, and we got a bomb pot here. $25 bomb pot. We're going to do a single board PLO bomb pot. Must use 2 and exactly 2 of your cards.
Yeah, so at TCH, they love to do double board, but unfortunately, we can't do that. So single board, Omaha Bomb Pot, my favorite game. A great game of Pot Limit Omaha.
Shout out to Joey Ingram.
Yep.
Pot limit Omaha.
Got Ryan in the box to deal.
And here we go.
4 cards, everybody.
So every dealer chains, we do one of these bomb pots. And the idea is that they generate a lot of action. And I think a lot of the times they do. Typically, they'll be double board. But unfortunately, our action tracker can't quite handle that.
So,
And Big Country, you're going to wake up with a wrap.
yep.
With some
Wrap.
clubs. Oh, and AJ is going to wake up with top set. So
Oh, this
I
could get
imagine we'll
spicy.
see some fireworks here.
Also backdoor diamonds.
Chaz with 2 pair.
Chaz is coming along.
Backdoor flush draw.
Doesn't know he's only 6% to win.
Figures that he has enough equity here. Tillman with a mystery hand. And what we see a lot of the times in these pots is that once the first person calls, the odds just continue to get astronomically better. So you see people coming in with more and more marginal holdings
Right.
because the pot odds get increasingly better.
You know what's great for AJ right now is all these people are blocking each other's straights. So
They're also blocking his boat outs though, which makes
well-
oh, doesn't matter.
and
And that's a cooler
oh,
for Jaywin. Jaywin's got sevens full of sixes, and AJ's got queens full of sevens. And so this could get pretty ugly for Jaywin.
yeah, this
It's going to be really hard for him to get away on this street. Although in PLO, it's much more likely to run into the nuts. So he's going to go ahead and call. I think that makes a lot of sense. So I think this is usually a call and reevaluate the river for Jaywin here.
oh yeah, right now
and-
you're actually feeling good with you think
Oh,
you-
absolutely.
You're only losing to one hand right now, and the odds are in your favor usually,
So the river is not going to change much here.
except for this hand.
I'd be very surprised if Jaywin finds a fold given the size of the pot.
I was about to say
Oh,
I
and I
would.
think AJ
yeah.
lets him off the hook a little bit here.
No, AJ got max value probably. It'd be hard to call pot size bet.
I think
there.
once it goes that many people, like that multi-way on the flop, I think that with the nuts, you can just fire big.
I mean, you definitely probably should pot it there.
But I don't know anything about PLO, and so
But
you're the PLO expert, so
I would-
default to you.
I wouldn't go that far. I've dabbled a few times, but
Just to tell you, the one time I did not straddle.
Jaywin is a smart enough player to know that he does not have the stone cold nuts.
Mm-hmm.
So if AJ bet out before the board paired up, before any straights came in, then he continued betting. He definitely has pocket queens in his range there. It's a bomb pot, so everyone gets to see the flop. So
Right. I think bomb pots make it really interesting. I just always err. For me personally, I err on the side of making people fold big hands, right? So
Right.
using big sizings and making people fold. But I think you might be right in that scenario because in the bomb pot, Jaywin knows that it's very, very likely that somebody could have queens there.
honestly,
I think
it's kind of
you're
a
right, so-
tell when you do a half pot bet on the river that you're almost begging for a call.
I think that's right too.
You either
yeah.
have the stone cold nuts or it's a bluff because it looks
Right.
like you're begging for a call.
So we've got the hands misread here. It looks like Faker is actually in this hand. And it looks like he raised it pre-flop. And he's continuing on this flop. And he's going to get raised by Tillman. And if the cards are right, Faker is in a really bad spot here.
Those cards aren't right. That is Pierre's hand.
Okay.
So
Because Tillman has flopped an absolute monster.
we don't know what.
We're not sure what Faker has here. And he's going to fold. And we'll... Oh, the turn was a queen. Tillman... Looks like Tillman went all in and Faker folded. But Tillman flopped top pair with the second flush draw, which is an absolute monster.
Apparently the pro is like very well liked. People were rooting for him.
And that's a tough hand for Faker. And we're not going to find out what he had there.
Fucking Germans, dude.
Maybe some pocket pair.
I think it was an 8 5.3.
But we're waiting for the action tracker to catch up. And looks like we're moving on to the next hand.
I don't think they're allowed to officially do it, so
Really?
yeah.
You can't chop?
I'm like 99% that WCB will not facilitate a deal
Really?
unless they've literally changed the rules in the past couple of years. Yeah.
I'm playing for millions of dollars.
All right, so we got a double straddle to 50. Looks like this is becoming the norm for the table. So 5, 10, 25, 50, and Faker is under the gun here.
I mean, yeah, if you could get it in real time, like have a lawyer.
And sorry about the action tracker, everybody. It's just taking a second to catch up. Not really sure what's going on right now, but
Well, yeah, I guess.
we'll get it all sorted out in a second for you.
Where is this at?
No, I say I witnessed people at final tables. Because all you have is a fix and the name of the guy.
This is a lot sooner though.
They are? Yeah, I mean, like, obviously.
We ordered it at 7:23. At 7:30.
Yeah, you don't do it everyone, but somebody has like
Still not 100% sure what's going on. Looks like we're having some technical difficulties. Sorry, folks. But we should have it sorted out in a second. In the meantime,
text that's like worth like
what are you doing for Thanksgiving, Seth?
Okay, so sorry about that. I was handling something. I am going to Fort Worth for Thanksgiving.
Oh, nice.
Spend time with my family.
Very cool. Did you guys have Did you have Thanksgiving last year? I know my family did a very modified one because
Oh,
of
yeah.
all the COVID stuff. So this is the first year we're gonna have our big Thanksgiving, which I'm excited for. I'm sure a lot of people are in the same boat.
So last
So-
year, most of my elderly, and that sounds like they're really old, but most of my aunts and uncles who are older than me got COVID last year. So majority of them already had it, so no one was really worried about it.
Okay.
And yeah, we enjoy Thanksgiving together.
Good, man.
A lot of laughs, a lot of drinking.
Yeah. I think that's been the best part of Thanksgiving as I've gotten older, is that more and more people can drink, and it's fun getting drunk with your parents once in a while.
You know, I just love spending time with my family, and we laugh a lot. You know, a lot of joking around.
Yeah, I'm sure a lot of people are excited for that with all
Yeah.
this stuff coming up. I mean, it's just nice to step back and have a few days off.
Right, and it's just that's what I love. Just spend time with my family. I love my family. They're great.
Yeah, definitely.
So next, this Thursday, we will not have a live stream.
Right, that makes sense. I can't imagine that.
Like I said, I will not be here. So
5-10-25. This hand back to the action. Sorry about the technical difficulties, but looks like we're fully back now. Chase has 6-5 in the hijack. And gonna go ahead and call.
was for it. You remember, Chad?
I believe it's something like 200,000. Was the first place prize.
AJ with Jack 10 suited, Asian aces. Gonna go ahead and bump it up to 130. And this guy wakes up with queens again. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I think that's the third time tonight, and he's also had aces.
yeah, are we
And
not?
so-
Are we watching a current hand or an old hand?
This is a pretty good night for him, and I
So-
think AJ probably has a very good hand to defend here, but he's drawing very slim here. And the flop is 10-7 deuce, so AJ gonna go ahead and flop top pair backdoor club draw, and queen's still ahead. So last time we saw this guy with his queens go bet check on a similar board texture, so I'm interested to see what line he takes here, and he's gonna go ahead and fire for almost a pot-sized bet here.
Okay.
So that's very interesting. I think that, wow, AJ gonna make a very, very disciplined fold there. I guess to that sizing, it makes sense.
Well, and AJ was not playing on the table for a little bit, so I wonder if he was watching and saw how
think
good he's
he-
been running. So
Probably knows that it's gonna be hard for him to navigate future streets there, and he is. If the pot continues to get bigger and bigger, he's gonna be behind a lot of the time there, and so I think that is a pretty reasonable, very disciplined fold, but not necessarily one that either of us would make.
yeah, I would definitely be floating. There.
I think I would also at least take one. I guess he's disincentivized by the big sizing though. Big C bet almost pot, so
Okay, yeah, well,
that makes it a little bit easier. And Chaewin's turn to wake up with the ladies. They're just moving around the table.
hello, ladies.
We've seen them all night.
This is just a.
Queen happy table, man. Jeez.
I guess this is the night of queens. That's what we should.
The
name
night
it.
of queens. Pink 7 of hearts. So this guy gonna take a shot at cracking cracking queens this time. And Faker's going to wake up with ace king off.
Oh, this.
Oh,
this is gonna
no.
be and the 3
And with the
bet comes in.
SPR, this is a really tough spot for Faker. This is almost a mandatory 4-bet for J1 here. And I don't think any sizing makes sense besides jam versus Faker. He is deep with this guy, but this guy's range is pretty capped after he flats the raise. And
Oh,
so,
for sure. And this guy was, he's been running good, so he
And-
goes, I'm going to see a flop.
right.
for
And this guy
75.
is an aggressive player. And so when he just flat calls, I think J1 can safely roll out king and aces.
This
of
guy's
his range. So
definitely, it's easy to get away from this hand.
for sure. And so
Uh,
I think J1's going to tank here for a little bit, and I expect to see him bump it up to maybe 1K. And that
here
looks like
comes-
exactly what it's going to be. So he's going to make it, 1,500, he goes big. I think that makes sense too. He's just putting Faker all in with this bet.
For sure. Faker's all in her.
And now this guy, I mean, I don't see how you can continue here. But we'll see.
No, I think he's just,
Saving some face, I think.
yeah, doesn't want to make it look like he was
And
weak.
he's been running pretty well, so maybe he's thinking about, speculating. Nah, he's going to let it go. And Faker, I don't think that there's anything that Faker can do here.
I mean,
This is this is just your classic cooler spot.
yeah.
Yep.
And
there it is.
goes.
And he's got queens. And I think J1 is a one-time kind of guy.
He is.
And so Faker's going to need some help here. No help for Faker on that flop.
I should learn from yours.
And that's going to be a winner for the queen. And queens hold.
I bet.
Hopefully
And
our friend
that's
is
a
going to
tough-
come back.
That's a tough beat for Faker there.
Yeah.
Um,
I mean, that's just standard. That's that hand. Those hands are going to play that way majority of the time. So.
Yep.
Nothing
I
you
think
can do
that's
about
right.
it.
Nothing you can do about that spot. The Knight of the Queens.
The Knight of the Queens.
Shout out to David Fidel Orahana for the subscription.
Yeah, thank you.
That might be miserably pronounced, but I apologize.
You did a better job than I could.
Right here.
And we got Mike in the chat.
Yeah, hello, Mike.
How's it going?
Can you push a small line, sir? Thank you. Thank you. 2,000? Okay. Were you vaccinated before you got to the hospital?
My daughters were, and they were $1.
10 to go.
Got it at the same time.
Sorry? Oh, I'm sorry, my mistake. It's straddle.
Okay, it looks like Faker's going to reload.
And meanwhile,
And this
This
guy wakes
guy
up
wakes
with
up with
another pocket pair.
tens. Oh my lord!
What is going on? This is not fair for me. Anyway, just kidding. That is.
Sometimes the deck, you just get smashed by the deck, and I'm sure everybody who's played poker agrees with these. Oh, I eat my words. Oh, what a
Ooh,
sick
ooh.
flop! What a sick flop. Faker with top pair, top kicker, Chase with bottom two, and this guy with the pocket tens.
And, okay.
And he's gonna go ahead and bet, and Faker is now in a horrible spot here. With somebody behind, I think that.
I wonder if Faker knows how, or has seen Chase play before.
I think that a lot of the times you can get away from this one, just because
It's a pot size
you're just
bet.
gonna run into a lot of bad turns and rivers that are really hard to navigate here. But he's gonna go ahead and call, and you can't blame him with top pair, top kicker, and Chase is going nowhere.
Chase is going to raise.
And
I have
so
a feeling
this
we're about to
guy-
see someone all in.
This guy now is in a very interesting spot. With a caller behind, this gets a lot more tough to navigate, I think. And he has an overpair, but the board is so connected, and there are just not that many turn cards that are good for him. And it makes it really tricky with how relatively deep they still are, with how relatively deep he is with Chase still.
Right.
And it's even more tricky because he knows he's played with Chase before, and he knows how Chase plays. And Chase is going to be capable of doing this with a lot of 7-8 hard draw type hands here. Pair plus flush draw, pair plus straight draw.
So,
But I think he also knows that Chase's range pre-flop is going to, smash a lot of
right.
these board textures. So
And thankfully for Faker, I think he's going to be able to get away from this once this guy raises. Because I have a feeling he's going to raise.
I think a raise is a overplay.
I think I agree. He brought out
I don't know how
big
he can.
chips.
Right. I think that you have to. All of the options are kind of bad here, right, for this guy. Because if you call, then you don't really have a great plan for future streets, right? Yeah, I think.
He lets it go.
Fold is a really good fold, and Faker's going to fold as well. And I think that's a
Wow.
good fold as well. And Chase is going to take it down with bottom two. I just think that with the board texture, that's such a hard board to navigate with tens, right?
Right.
And
For sure.
out of position as well, it's just going to be really, really tricky. And that's a nice pot for Chase to pick up there.
Oh, yeah. I mean,
And let's see what the straddle is after he wins a nice pot.
Chase.
Chase has been he put on the 200 once, but besides that, it's been pretty.
It only gets outrageous
Pretty
when
tame.
he's tilted. So you could expect 100, or not expect, but
Wow, no double straddle. Wow.
yeah, he's gonna say he's auto. Told you.
Oh, there we go. Yep. Seth has got Chase soul red, absolutely soul red.
I played with him too much,
And Pete's gonna go ahead and call with King 9 off.
and I've dealt to Chase too much.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, what if with two pairs?
And this guy just seems not capable of picking up a hand that's not a pocket pair. Deuces never loses. I'm sure he's gonna come in on the button here. I see a flop.
Deuce
two
on the
ways.
flop. Dude, I bet. Nope. Oh,
Whoa.
I was close.
All right. We got an
Okay.
interesting flop here.
Pete with the best hand right now. King 9. Pete's gonna fire it out.
Because it came to the point where I would buy her stuff, bring it home, she's like, oh, I don't want to eat that anymore. I'm like, all right, I'm going to be on the road. 2 things to eat. Because whatever you don't eat, I'll eat. And that ended up being a really good.
Pete fires and picks up the pot. About right. Chase didn't have anything to continue with. Look at chip counts. Big Daddy Chaz up at top. Pretty spread out today.
That also means I get to play a lot less poker. So I'm just kind of enjoying it. Everybody's been telling me, like, really enjoying this 50. Must be going back and forth between this, my mom is here with me. She wants to. It's not like, she doesn't want to. But,
So here we go. Straddle Live 50 is on. Oh, and guess what, everybody? The Knight of Pocket Queens. Queens again. J1's going to raise it up to 300. Chase is going to let it go, enjoying a massage as usual. And this guy's going to, he says, I need to see a flop. It's time to hit my pair of aces. Oh, and okay, this is interesting. So this guy hits top pair, backdoor flush draw. J-Win. J-Win might be a little suspicious, but he's not going anywhere with this board. Queens again. This guy.
Wow. Queens again. They really are just. Man, Jalen was pretty card dead to start off tonight, but he sure has picked it up this last half an hour, huh?
And now he is, welcome back, Austin. And now he's trapping. I like it. Trapping with the pocket queens. And this guy, you know, he's just running so good. He thinks, I have top pair, top kicker. I'm going to bet $800 because
Oh, wow, he's going to bet into it.
Jalen doesn't have pocket queens. I'm sure that's not what's going through his head.
Check bet 800. Wow. This is a really interesting spot for Jay here. I wonder if this guy plans to run a big bluff on any spade river, in which case this is a really, really sick play. I think that for this guy, he has a lot of really strong hands on this board. A lot of two pairs, 6/8,
sure.
some 6/8 suiteds, and probably all of the sets.
I'm sure Jay Wynn is.
And-
I'm sure Jay Wynn is thinking. You know, he's running really good. He definitely could have 7-5, 9-7, pocket sevens, pocket nines, pocket fives, pocket deuces.
Yep, I think he has all the sets, and Jay knows that.
And Jay Wynn checking and taking.
Wow,
What?
he folds
What?
queens. Wow, what a play by this guy! What a great check raise, right? It was check
Wow,
raise?
that is.
Or no.
No,
Jay
no,
went
it
bet
was
and
checked
he-
to him.
Oh wow!
The
wow,
power
wow.
of position.
Wow, what a great bet by this guy! Just taking it down pushes Jaywin off his one pair.
I'm sure you've heard that
And-
phrase, the power of position.
Oh yeah, man, that's awesome.
Wow, I can't believe that. Wow. I wonder if that was a I wonder if Jay Wynn's hand was misread by the computer. Cause
I think that's a really reasonable fold from Jay. I mean, he's just got one pair there, and his opponent has got so many strong hands there. And
right, but when he watches that back later, he's gonna be sick to his stomach.
I think it's also going to be very hard for him to navigate a lot of rivers, right?
Right.
A spade river.
Hey, here's your hand, Austin. Queen Jack.
I do like me some Queen Jack.
And this guy wakes up with Ace King suited. What is?
Man,
You know, the only time you like to be slapped is when the deck is slapping you.
and he's just going to flat in the hijack. Oh, interesting.
You gotta mix it up. You know, you gotta
Mhm.
try to mix it up. Not, I mean, if he raises, then it's just everyone's gonna fold because he's running so good. And there's the deuces. And
Deuce,
no one
deuce,
has a
4.
deuce.
Big country going to flop the best of it. This is a board texture that a lot of the times just max aggression is going to take down, I think. I think with spade on the board, this guy can definitely float here.
Yeah. You don't think he's folding, do you?
No.
Not at all.
I think that makes a lot of sense, and big country comes in with a call.
Pete says, "I'm just gonna
I think
milk
Pete
you guys."
is going to have a tough time navigating this hand out of position here.
Well, I mean, now he just turned the club draw, so you know he's not gonna go anywhere. Checks. See if. I like to check by Pete. If you bet out, you risk getting.
Oh, and
raised.
he's just going to back into
And
that
then he
flush.
just
He just
thinks.
gets there. Going to go ahead and bet relatively small, it looks like. About half a pot. And I actually really like that sizing from Pete. I think that going much bigger than that doesn't make too much sense. And the hands that you're targeting to call are comprised of a lot of one-pair hands. And so I think that's a sensible bet. Just turns out that neither of the other people in the hand had anything. So
Yeah.
a little bit unfortunate there, but
Yeah. You
still
also
scoops a reasonable pot there.
Yeah, you feel good though. You won the hand.
Yeah, definitely.
Definitely behind pre-flop.
Jaywin seriously underplays queen, says Mo the cat.
Derek, I'm sorry that I don't know why there's a delay. I don't think there's a delay.
Oh,
Are you?
Oh, sorry, Derek.
As Derek, we're just reacting to the cards when they come in and we see them. So
That does sound pretty annoying, though.
yeah, I apologize for that.
Oh yeah, there is a.
And fakers. Okay, so faker raised 75. Everyone, 3 people flat. Jack 10 off. Let's see what this flop is going to be.
You don't have to win it. You just get
Good flop for Faker here.
This guy definitely is probably.
This guy has
doing
a
the flop.
gutter, and that's
But if you make it to the 10K, it's not hard to
Big Country's got bottom pair backdoor flush draw. Faker gonna go ahead and bet out here for 175,
once you make the game, man, it goes quick.
and Big Country gonna call. And this guy, 1 overcard and a gutter here. I think that
Yeah, he lost interest in this hand. It
pretty
seems like.
reasonable fold. How about a jack on the turn? Wow. So, Big Country probably feeling a little bit better about his hand. But I'm not sure how many bluffs that Faker is going to have here. Probably just his spade combos. And that's probably not enough to really justify continuing. But
And I don't think Pete and Faker have played before, so
no, I don't think so.
Pete doesn't know how he plays, and he's just gonna probably play this cautiously. Although he may think, well,
He did
less
bet
likely to have a 10 now because
Faker bet relatively small compared to the size of the pot. So Pete's getting some pretty good odds here.
Yeah,
He doesn't know that he's
drawing
drawing
dead
dead,
essentially.
so
Yeah.
nope, fully drawing, and he's gonna raise.
Oh, he
Wow.
raised. Oh, okay.
This is a really interesting play from Big Country.
Starts tomorrow, yeah. And then day 2 is Sunday, day 3 is Monday.
Well, you and I both know our friend is not going anywhere with Jack 10, so.
I imagine that he's thinking about shoving, and he's just gonna call.
No, he shoved. He went all
Oh,
in.
he shoved, right? And then now Big Country puts himself into sort of a terrible spot, right?
Yeah.
But I like the raise is interesting because he says, wake up with a 10 or fold. And so a lot of the times Faker isn't going to have a 10 here. And he's going to have,
Right.
let's say he has pocket 9s or pocket jacks or, something like that.
Or a straight
he's
draw,
Put into sort of a miserable spot, right?
for sure.
And
And he folds.
Big Country says, I block pocket 5s as well. And so wake up with it or fold. And he just happened to run it into run it into Faker's trip 10s.
Yeah.
So nice little hand for Faker there to crawl back a little bit. Nice to see him get some
Last time
of his money back from that
sure.
from that cooler.
because they keep charging.
But I like the aggression from Big Country as well.
No. They lost. Yeah, they did. First action. So usually you pay Rick on the first buy, right? But they keep charging Rick till they fucking print the money. Your first action. You really realize how much it was straddle. Live 25. But it was a good tournament or whatever.
Okay. Now it's Tillman's turn for a massage. Wow, this guy folds 10-7. Jeez.
Yeah, no.
You had a good tournament.
No one really waking up with anything yet in this hand.
The hand I showed you, ace 4 of clubs, queens. It's like, I could have played safe in final table, but I'm like, if I win this, I'm like, chip leader in the final table. So it's like, I don't know. What would you have done there, Jay? You would've
Chase and Big Daddy Chaz to the flop. Chase has
there was like,
pair of 5s, backdoor flush. Big Daddy Chaz has a gutter to the 8 high straight,
60% I would jam on the flop.
or now double gutter.
Pair with nut flush draw.
Chaz is definitely going to peel one off. Pot is small, bets are small.
Depending on where he is, I can't remember
And Chase
Oh, I thought Chase. My bad.
gonna go ahead and call with his
Yeah.
bottom pair and a gutter.
That was the final two tables, he's like 700.
Ace on the river.
7 million.
You got ace four.
Chaz
Let's
might
see if
bet out
Chaz
here.
turns this into a bluff. I mean,
Like if that person lost,
and he's gonna go for it. And I actually really like this play.
he has so much pressure. Like, I wouldn't be happy to see another person have pocket fives.
Oh yeah, Chaz will put it in there.
Well, you know what I mean.
Um,
5, 6, 7s. I feel miserable against King.
Although I'm not sure what hands he's trying to really represent, but I think that aggression in pots like this usually will just win no matter what, right? And he's not going to really get there with worse than 7 high, so
Right, and
if you're gonna
Chaz.
pick anything, and he knows that, and he knows that Chase has a wide range, and he knows that. A lot of the times he's going to have draws that miss, etc., 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 and he can get him to fold. Hence, like the one that he had.
Right, and he probably sensed that Chase was weak, so I bet there,
Final day and I got 11.
you know, is
You're
gonna
going to
just
get it
take
done
down.
a lot of the time. Yep, I
It's a
agree.
good bet by Chaz.
All right, and we got the $50 start on this hand.
This will probably be common throughout the night.
Yeah, I'd like to get into more of a traditional business than what I have done in the past.
Chase with ace-10 offsuit from the cutoff.
Their own line.
I'll be right back, guys.
However, that's been working on my tournament game all year.
I've been really liking tournaments recently, so I've been usually
Mo the Cat says, when you underplay the strength of your hand, you're susceptible to being bet off your hand. What do you think? I think that's a really interesting question to ask and see what people think about that. I think a lot of the time people are more prone to overplay their overpairs, and at the end of the day, you end up with just one pair, even though a lot of times is a really strong one pair. And depending on board texture and position and action, it can be really hard to navigate. And I think that a lot of the times people get married to their overpairs, and they say, "Oh, well, I have aces, and I'm never going to fold my aces," and that can get them into a lot of trouble a lot of the time. But that being said, I think that a lot of times, if you underplay, you look like you're weak when you have sort of a strong but not super nutted hand, and that can put you into a lot of difficult spots as well. So navigating pots, especially in games like this where a lot of the hands are multi-way, can be very difficult with overpairs. And so I think that that's where aggression pre-flop and trying to isolate as much as you can comes into play. So those are my thoughts. Hopefully that's giving you something to think about. And let's get back to the action here. Big Daddy Chaz with ace-queen off from the small blind. Going to go ahead and raise it up to, looks like 125. And this guy going to come in with queen 6 suited, and Chase is going to complete with 9-10 off. So let's see a flop 3 ways.
By the time I got 125, I was so tired. I was chasing too much.
And Chaz is going to flop the best of it here. Chase waking up with middle pair. And Chaz is going to continue. That's just over half pot. And let's see if Chase wants to float one here. Got a backdoor straight, backdoor flush. And he's going to raise. Going to raise small. And Chaz, I don't think can really go anywhere here. And he's going to go ahead and throw in the call. And wow! 10 on the turn. Chase turns 2 pair.
I cashed in it and I upped one cash.
And Chaz is going to pick up a gutter here as well. This is a really, really interesting card. I think for... Wow. And Chase is going to bet almost pot here. And Chaz is now in a spot that he really doesn't like. Chase is capable here of having pair push flush draws and some straight draws, pair push straight draws, as well as a plethora of other holdings here. And Chaz just has one pair. I think fold makes a lot of sense.
Okay, I'm back. Oh,
And
like a
that's a
juicy-
really sick turn. And
that's
Chase going to take down a nice pot here.
you know Chase is smiling right now.
I did that yesterday in the Art of Poker. It was the Art of Poker. I had ace jack.
Art of Poker, that's the tournament I plan on playing on there.
I like it. I like it.
Okay, I'm back, everybody.
It's $200 to win 12,000.
Kind of sad I missed that pot. Looks pretty good.
There's about 250 people in there.
Where is it at?
How often?
Once a month. Yeah, it's a first.
Trophy's pretty sick, right?
Is it the first Saturday of every
I
month?
want a trophy.
Yeah, it's
Where's
or
my
the
trophy
second.
Saturday?
Yeah, it's a Saturday.
Usually pretty strong.
5:25. Starts at 12.
Michael Tilton says, of all the hands I hate, 2 pairs top of my list. Man, I couldn't.
I like 2 pair.
I definitely understand what he's saying though, because a lot of the times if you play massively, if you play really big pots with 2 pair, a lot of the times you lose, and
Oh,
you
yeah.
just feel like you can't really get away from it, you know.
I missed that board, but was it connected?
So the flop was ace 8-9, and Chaz had ace queen from the small blind. He opened it up, got 2 callers, and then Chase raised the flop ace 8-9, and but he raised relatively small. Chaz called, and the turn gave Chase 2 pair, so the board was ace 8-9-10,
Okay.
and Chaz checked, Chase bet about pot, and Chaz folded. And I think that's a very disciplined fold.
Oh yeah. Anyone else, they definitely call maybe.
And I think that that could be something to think about. There is maybe like the kind of hands that you're targeting when you bet, right? For Chase, because
Right.
Chaz is gonna have a lot of 1 pair holdings there, like ace king, ace queen, ace jack, right?
Yeah.
And when you bet pot in a pot that's already pretty sizable, I think you fold out a lot of those 1 pair hands,
Yeah.
and sometimes that can be a mistake. Whereas like if you use more of like a half pot or 3/4 pot sizing, maybe those 1 pair hands come along. But that board texture was so bad for Chaz anyways that maybe he just wins
Right.
anyways. I'm not sure.
And do you think a pot size bet doesn't give you the right price to call to catch?
I mean, for Chaz, right?
Right, for Chaz.
It's just he just has his he has ace queen, so he has a gutter, right? And then
Right. You're not getting the price to call.
the
so
problem
you
is
hit.
like there was a flush draw on board as well, so Chase can have like a lot of Chaz's outs can be,
Right,
reversible,
yeah.
like bad for him, and so it just becomes sort of a tough spot, right, for Chaz especially
sure.
because they're it would have left Chase with a little bit less than a pot size bet left, right, and
Right.
so if Chaz happens to hit like his queen, it brings 4 to a straight, and he's in just a world of pain there, right?
Right.
Just like a really annoying spot. And I think a lot of the times, especially in these games, it's good to just like try to make your life as simple as possible and avoid those spots that get really tricky, right?
Right.
As much as you can. Like, obviously, there's going to be tough spots that come up, no matter what. But
Yeah.
if you can, avoid those spots by making some disciplined folds, it's gonna at least reduce your stress level
For sure.
in
Yeah.
the long
Yeah.
run, right? So back to the poker.
if you find out table,
Yeah, that last hand looked like it was just a chop at the end. Board
I
paired,
think-
king on the board, both had an ace.
Chase is probably auto straddle here, probably on for the 50.
Yeah,
Although it looks like maybe nobody is. It's always tough when you're in the 1 and 9 seat, right?
right.
To especially from the 1 seat, it's hard to see where the button is. So it's easy to miss your straddle. And I know Chase's favorite seat is the 1 seat, and so it's pretty interesting, right? Given.
Well, it used to be the 4th seat.
Oh,
He's
really?
changed it.
Oh,
Yeah,
I didn't know that. I haven't played with him.
yeah he changed it, so.
So Faker gonna come in for a big raise here from the small blind, and I like that. Queen 10. I think that's about 4x. That's right, which makes a lot of sense. And Pierre is gonna
3-bet.
3-bet his pocket 10s to relatively small sizing. And Faker's on kind of an awkward stack here now.
Faker says, I don't like to fold.
And he's just gonna flop top pair. And that board is just
And the funny thing about this hand is all the 10s are gone.
right.
So, because Jay went
And-
folded a 10. So all Pierre can do is
Pierre's
tie.
gonna continue, right? And Faker is never going anywhere with his top pair.
You know, if you know.
Oh, he's gonna min click it. I gotta say that I really don't like that play that much.
No.
I think that the problem with that is that all of the hands that you're beating fold and all of the hands that beat you call, and so
Right.
you're just isolating your opponent's range. You're narrowing your opponent's range in a spot where you really don't have to, right?
Right.
Because we'd like to keep his range relatively wide there, and he's got so many hands that, like, ace jack, ace king, ace 10, right? That you want to be in there, and unless he has the diamond combination of a lot of those hands, he's probably just going to fold to that min raise given the stack sizes.
Right.
And then you make it really easy for him when he has a hand like 10s there, right? Because on the turn, right?
Yeah.
It's just like what his 10s do. But
Pete, I wonder if Chase said put me in for 50 because Pete just put him in for 50.
I bet he did. And Chad's going to come in with a razor with
And Chaz says,
American Airlines. He says, thank you very much.
thank you. You know, I like to call that, though, no
Oh,
man's
and
land.
Faker wakes up with ace queen. And
could
this
be
is just
dangerous.
pretty gross for Faker. Oh, no.
No.
And this is going to be interesting to see what Chaz does here.
Here's a good rule. Don't 3-bet when you're offsuit.
I think
I just made that up on this second.
from the button, ace queen is too good to not 3-bet. But let's see what the stack size is.
Oh,
This is
no,
gonna be
for
good.
sure. I was just, you know, we get to see
Oh,
the
he
cards.
rips it. And I
Oh.
think now that actually lets Faker get away from this. But oh, because what hands are going to just rip here that he's really doing super well against? Oh, good fold from
Good
Faker.
fold.
Very
applause.
good fold. Very good fold. I think that's a very disciplined fold.
We have a new Faker in the house.
I'm really surprised by that jam from Chaz. I think maybe the stack sizes were wrong, but that seemed like a pretty big jam. And I'm wondering how he's balancing that.
I don't know. Maybe he looked at his chip stack and said,
Missaw it? Or
didn't like count it out fully and just said,
Yeah,
you know what?
yeah,
Looks like
yeah.
he doesn't have that much. Let's
Right.
just get it all in.
I mean, I definitely understand that, like, they're, like, when stack sizes are so weird, it makes it hard to pick a 4-bet size that makes sense, right?
Right.
Because you're going to leave your opponent with basically, like, SPR of less than 1. And so I think that, like, you're just sort of in a weird spot as Chaz. But I think, like, when you have aces, you could even work in some flats there, and you'd be more prone to shove a hand like maybe like kings there that
Right.
maybe need some protection against aces. But aces is so just so strong there that you don't really need any protection, so it's not terrible to see a flop.
No, and that's the thing. Like, I see this a lot. Like, people, I'm not saying overplay aces. They don't, like, rein in the aggression and try to actually get value for their hand.
Right.
Which is what you want to do because you have the best hand at the time. Oh, and Chase wakes
Wow,
up with jacks.
ace, king, jacks, and nines. This is a setup hand. And Chase is going to 3-bet huge, and Jaywin is going nowhere with his nines.
Pete.
And Pierre is in there with deuces. Very interesting. Oh, looks like the action chart. Oh, never mind. Oh, wow. And Chase just has top set. When J1 doesn't have much of anything here.
And Chase is just hoping J1 please have ace king.
Wow,
Please
J1 gonna
have ace
fire out. Really interesting bet here. Oh, and he's gonna bet tiny.
King. That's a what do you have bet? What do you have right now?
Mm-hmm.
I may have the
This
best
is a really
hand,
this
but
is a really interesting bet from J1 because I think that Chase has a lot of ace high hands that would check the flop here. And J1's gonna hate
J1
that.
says, okay,
Yeah,
you
just
have
fold.
something.
And,
I fold.
I don't know exactly what that bet accomplishes, but
What, the 400?
mhm.
You know, with Chase, he could have anything. He could
But I
have
guess,
jacks.
yeah.
He could have 7-3
That's true.
for one pair of sevens.
That's true. But I think like Chase's calling range is definitely wide, but I don't think he makes it 900 pre-flop with anything that.
I've seen him do that
crazy.
with very less than marginal hands. But when he re-raises him right there, J1 knows he actually has something.
Yeah, of course, of course.
That's why again, pocket jacks. Dude, you're only losing to one hand aces. I'm willing to take the risk and trap right there.
Right.
You went from telling me you ordered wings to normal and Chinese, and then
Yeah, I think for sure Chase could just flat there and let J1
Yeah.
bluff if he's bluffing, right?
If he hits on you.
There was no flush out there yet, no straight. You have second nuts, just you lose too much value when you raise up that much.
Mhm.
Which one?
400 to 2,000, like. Of course, we get to see the
Here we go.
cards.
Chase flops top pair, and Pierre flops middle pair, and let's see what happens. It does help that we get to see the cards for sure.
It does. It makes
Yeah.
it easy to.
But I think that for Chase in that spot, right? Like,
Right.
again, this goes back to the idea of, like, what are you getting called by, right?
Right.
And so when you raise that big with jacks, right? Like, you just allow your opponents the chance to get away from, like, ace X there, right?
Right.
Which is, like, you don't want that to happen, right? And then if they're ever running, like, some weird bluff, just let them keep bluffing.
Right.
But I also don't fault him for, like, the pot's big already, just pile in money, right?
Yeah.
Which is, never bad. And if J1 happens to have, like, a lower set, then
Right.
he's just getting it all. So
Or top two pair. Top two pair would have trouble. That would just be the sickest spot.
right.
What we got? Chase is gonna take down this pot. Everyone just checks.
Yeah, to
'cause
take
they-
down another nice one. And the pots are pot sizes are getting increasingly bigger as we move on.
Right.
You got this $600 pot, seemingly insignificant, but with the double straddle going around, the pot sizes really balloon up without people noticing.
For sure. So what straddling's it's a very interesting dynamic to the game.
How do you feel about straddling? Because I'm always happy to put on whatever
Well,
people want. I think
you've
that
played 1-2 with me before. You know I never straddled. And now after playing 2-5 a lot, all I do is straddle because I'm trying to blow up
right.
trying to blow the stakes up.
Yeah, I think the dynamics are different at 1-2 and 2-5 because it's uncapped at 2-5 here.
Right.
Versus 1-2 is capped, and so if you're sitting on a $300 stack at 1-2, then straddling is weird. But if you're sitting on, if everybody's sitting on 3K at 2-5, then it makes a lot more sense to straddle for the game. So I think I know a lot of people will consider how deep they're playing and stuff like that. I think that makes a lot of sense.
Right. And I've realized that straddling $10 in 1-2 It makes a lot of people uncomfortable.
Definitely. So Big Country is gonna flop a flush draw with one over to the board. Faker's gonna bet 75 with his pocket fours. And we're gonna see a turn. And
And he binks.
Big Country is gonna hit top pair. So now he has
He has the world now.
he's got the absolute world. Gonna go check check. And it's gonna go check check. And
Yeah. You know, I noticed Big Country does this. When he's never played with someone, he will do this to find out what you're playing with. It's information.
yeah.
He's checking to get information. And once he puts you on a range, then he'll either bet or check.
Like, how vividly do you remember?
They put you in a coma?
Let's see, what's the chat saying?
I was in London, the first one, and I was in a like an avatar kind of simulator, and I was hooked up, and I was in a wheelchair.
Again, if you're watching and you haven't already, please like and subscribe to the channel. It helps us grow, get some more content like this. We got a Monday and Thursday night stream almost every week, as well as other streams from different locations. And there's nothing quite like Texas poker. The action here is pretty amazing, and so if you're looking for somewhere to come down and play, this is a great place to come and check out. Everybody's friendly, all the dealers are great, and it's a guaranteed good time.
Yes, Texas poker is it's very, very entertaining.
All right, so we got a 3-bet here from Pierre, a pretty loose configuration, and he's gonna smash top 2.
Bank, Austin's hand, Queen Jack.
And Faker,
Backdoors, that's about it. Ace high. He's
they're
gonna
gonna go ahead
fold.
and fold, and I think that makes a lot of sense. I think that's a little bit loose for Faker pre-flop to defend to the 3-bet out of position. Just because the problem with those sort of middling aces that you're dominated so often in 3-bet pots that I think they
Right.
become a lot of trouble because, like, if you flop an ace, like, do you really feel great about piling a ton of money into the pot? And the answer is usually no. And so if that's the case, maybe better to just get away from it pre. But I also understand, like, a lot of money in the pot pre-flop because of all the straddling stuff, so you have better odds to call.
Wait, so you were kind of like.
For sure. You know, this is the first time I've seen Faker play in like 3 or 4 months.
I know he's been traveling around a lot. He played some events out in Vegas and
Yeah.
played some tournaments, and he's been working hard on his tournament game. So,
I told him to never study. It'd mess him up.
but he's been studying. So we see Tillman coming from the call here in the big line with Big Slick,
And
and
this
guy has ace
old
queen,
buddy.
and he's also just gonna call.
Let's
Wow.
get some chips in this pot. Let's go.
So we got some under-repped hands here, and not
And
the
the flop
most
just kills everything.
not the most exciting flop. Tillman with the best of it. And
And Jaywin
Jaywin
bluff
probably just wins this pot with some aggression. I'd
bluff
imagine,
the
but
4.
Yeah, I think Tillman's gonna continue. I think that makes sense. But and Jaywin after getting 2 calls is probably not really loving it that much, and he's just gonna turn a boat, which is gonna be the best hand of lot here.
Right. I was gonna say
And-
if he didn't pair, he definitely could
This is
bluff the turn.
Interesting spot here
But you just boat
because
up. Yeah.
what hands can you get value from, right? And I think that check makes a lot of sense.
And
And
that's
so-
a great river for Jaywin.
That is
Now
a great river for Jaywin.
you're
He almost definitely has the best hand here.
yeah.
And
And they're playing passively, so
right, maybe a small bet here gets value from his
value
high.
bet.
Just
125.
Yeah, a
maybe?
little tickle, and it looks like exactly what he's gonna
200?
do.
300.
300.
Oh, never
Wow, he's
mind.
gonna bet pretty big.
Okay. This is why I'm not pro.
Wow, he's
pro.
gonna get snapped off by Ace King. Very interesting. And Jaywin's face, he says, "Oh, not expecting to be good that often when I get called there, but." he's gonna-
I
he'll take it."
actually understand that big bet. It makes it look like a bluff almost. So you get ace high to call you. And
Yeah, max value from Ace High for sure.
for sure, yeah. I mean,
And like maybe if your opponent has a hand like sixes or sevens, there you get value.
Right. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
like
Small pocket.
even like
pair.
twos or threes, right? And when your opponent's flat, the blinds, right? They're
Right.
probably not gonna have too many like high pocket pairs in there, so you're feeling okay about your eights full. I'd say you could you can get called by nines. He blocks tens. Jack's probably three bets, so I think that
Yeah.
makes sense.
It's a good bet. Good bet, Jalen.
That's why Jaywin's a crusher.
Yeah. That's why he's playing and I'm commentating. uh, oh, Pierre wakes up with one of my favorite hands, pocket nines.
Oh, so you thought it was 100% weird.
Shout out to Daniel Fabro for the for subscribing. We appreciate all of that.
Definitely.
It's very
Come on,
cool
let's
to
get
grow the
to
channel.
the goal is 125 likes tonight.
What are we at right now?
71. Smash that like button.
We can get there for
Oh
sure.
yeah, we got plenty of time. Smash it.
And
as
the game's
hard as you
gonna
can.
only get better as the night goes on. Faker here. Counterfeits Pierre's nines. What a gross turn. Oh man.
Oh, Pierre. I'm sorry.
Wow, and
buddy.
he's just gonna go ahead and lead for wow, almost a pot sized bet. And this is a really interesting bet from Faker. And
Yeah.
it's gonna get Pierre to fold here. And I don't know what I think about that.
Well, Pierre definitely knows he loses to ace high. So
Well,
at that point,
yeah, it makes life for Pierre pretty easy. But
Yeah.
I think for Faker, like, he turns a lot of showdown there. So I don't know if
maybe he thought he was bluffing.
But his opponent's never folding better.
Right. And
So-
Faker's is way smarter than I am, so I don't know.
I think
Or
that's
maybe
a pretty
he thinks,
interesting bet. I think maybe he's just like, I probably have the best hand, but it's pretty marginal, so I can just deny like King Jack a bunch of equity. Right,
Right,
you know,
right.
like something like that.
or get,
So how do we know we're not on
try to get another ace off of it. I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah, you could try and bluff ace high there, for sure. Although I don't know if Pierre is going to fold ace high there, but
Probably not.
pretty interesting bet. But
It's
it got
interesting.
deuce, so. Oh, are we playing 7 deuce? I guess not.
No.
I guess not.
Ben's not here.
All right. Yeah.
Shout out to Ben.
3 ways to the flop.
Miss you, buddy.
King 6-7. Nobody really has much of anything here.
Ace 8.
Yeah,
is in the
best with
lead.
his deuces. No, deuces are in.
Big Daddy Chaz gonna bet out 125.
Probably just going to take it down.
How's your life outlook changed on it coming out of it?
Yes, Mr. King.
So we got a pretty interesting table so far, I would say. I think the dynamics of this table are really interesting with the stack sizes. Because you have like a few people sitting with like 10K and then a few people sitting with 2 to 3.
Right.
And so with how big like the 3 and 4 bets are, it makes it really hard for the shorter stacks to navigate, I think.
Dude was like knocked out for I forget how many weeks, but
Yeah. They all seem to be,
Pretty.
I don't know.
Chad's going to bump it up.
It's an interesting dynamic tonight.
And Timlin going to call in the cutoff with ace-jack off. And that feels perfectly reasonable. Faker going to fold his ace-10 from out of position. I think that makes sense.
I like.
And Chase wakes up with 6s, so. Go ahead and call. And we're going to go through this to flop.
Well, okay.
6
so
is still ahead.
now Chase, if I was in the mind of Chase, I would think he feels pretty good right now. He's gonna.
Oh, yeah, I'm sure he's liking it.
He's gonna check. So Chaz definitely.
Checks around.
Tillman knows that flop.
Oh,
Wow.
good card for Chase.
but they know that he could have a 7 in his hand. For
Right.
sure. So,
Chase is probably going to take it down.
Yeah.
Just bet small takes it down. That makes sense.
I know, that's the trip, right? I keep thinking that also.
And Chase is going to drag a relatively small pot.
but Jay said, here's 100. Let's see where I'm at. And everyone runs. So. He's happy.
I'm sure, yeah. I'm sure Chase is probably fairly confident that any overpairs bet the flop there too.
Right.
So he's definitely feeling pretty good about his 7s or his 6s there. Huh.
Looks like we're going to have a dealer change. so-
Ragnar Overbuy says, y'all ever been curling? Just tried and it's super fun. Have you ever been curling?
No, but that is one of my favorite sports.
Curling?
Hell yeah. Bro, what sport do you get to drink a beer while you do it?
Curling?
Yeah.
You can't drink a beer while you're...
Not in the
Curling?
Olympics, but if you're just doing it for fun.
Really?
Yeah.
I mean, you can drink while you play poker. I guess poker is...
True, true.
Poker is, I mean...
Well, I mean, what sport can you be actively doing, physically active, where you have to move and stuff? And
Golf.
That's true.
That's why I'm a golf
I eat my
instructor,
words,
man.
Yeah, I guess I eat my words. But anyways, yeah, no. Dude, if I lived in Canada, it'd be great.
Apparently there's a spot in Austin. We got a shout out to,
I didn't even know we had an ice rink.
yeah.
So hot here, I thought ice can't survive.
So wait, you can't sign something else.
Yeah. I don't know if I've ever been inclined to go curling, but I do like, I don't know, I like bowling. I don't know how similar that is.
I love bowling.
pretty
I was on the
different.
bowling team in high school.
Really?
Yeah.
Did they use you as the ball?
I was on the, what's lower than JV? That's where I was at.
But bowling is pretty fun, man. So you just like go to a bowling alley after school and practice, or
Yeah, there was a local bowling alley. The school had a contract with them, and we
Oh,
would
man.
go practice, and I would just
bowl?
bowl and talk to girls. It was fun.
Nice. That's a lot of fun. Although I don't know how many girls are in a bowling alley.
Actually, that's one of my girlfriends in high school. I met her through bowling.
Really?
Yep.
Wow. All right, so Jaywin,
I royally fucked that relationship up. Excuse my language.
jeez. Jaywin's got a wheel, and he double blocks 5-6. And it doesn't look like anybody has much of
I
anything
mean, Chase
else.
had a flush draw, but
And
folded.
so it looks like Jaywin probably just
This is
gonna
the type of
take
flop
this
that
down.
Only
No.
hits Pierre.
Pierre.
If-
No, I think
So
with such a marginal flush draw, it's pretty easy for Pierre to fold there.
right, but also if heads up, now you like if there was 4 people in the hand, I would peel one off. I would peel the river with Pierre's hand, but now that's just heads up. It's kind of like what are you gonna get out of it if you hit? I don't know. It's just I don't hate Pierre's fold there. The
Yeah, I think
equity
it's
you do
very-
have necessarily doesn't transfer over into realized
Yeah, I think that's a
gains.
very, very sensible fold from Pierre.
Yeah. Straight's already there. You're basically drawn to a flush or a boat. So
Mhm.
back to the game of 2 cards.
All right, Chase.
Oh, Faker wakes up with pocket 9s.
Chase just calls under the gun with the ace queen off. I wonder if the graphic is wrong and he had the straddle on. But I can't tell right now. Tough to see.
It looks
looks
like
like
he
he
had
has the
It looks
straddle.
like he had the straddle.
Yeah, I can't imagine that Chase was just. And Pierre's gonna 3-bet. Huge. Interesting. So Faker chooses a very big sizing on the button here, and Pierre is gonna go 4x, which and Chase is gonna fold ace queen. Wow. And now Faker is in a.
Faker folded.
Wow.
So
Ace jack off.
from playing with Pierre, he has a certain image. And Chase probably thought he's only doing it with queens or better. So I understand why Chase would fold there. Not that I agree with it, just sometimes your image can work to your benefit.
Ace queen off in position, playing relatively deep. I mean, I guess he for Chase it's tough because you're worried that Faker is gonna jam
Right.
on the button behind you, and then that puts you in sort of a really annoying spot. But
That's kind of how I felt Thursday night with that ace jack hand where I got raise, re-raise. Like, I had the
Right.
best hand, but I don't feel good anymore.
that's the hard part about being in the middle, right?
Yeah.
It's really tough to be in the middle, and there's a lot of different strategies that I think people employ for when they're in the middle, and it's just like a spot that you just have to, like, think about a lot and be wary of how you navigate it, I think.
Right.
All right. Tillman with ace king here.
Big-
And not a
Big
very good
country
flop.
wakes up, top pair.
We got open-ended for this guy.
Ooh.
And we have middle pair for Faker.
I mean, this board hit everybody except Tillman. So everybody has some
Oh, Faker.
something except Tillman.
Faker with a pretty loose float here, I would say. But
Yeah, you gotta go run and make it straight.
yeah, you're getting decent odds, I guess. So this is gonna be an interesting card. I wonder if this guy keeps firing here. Getting called in two spots, and again, he's the guy in the middle here, is pretty gross. And he's going to go ahead and check, and I think that makes a lot of sense. So now Faker has an opportunity to run a bluff here. That's exactly what he's going to do. And he's going to get snap called by Big Country. And I think it's going to be really hard to get Big Country to fold the 10 here on the river, depending on what the river is. I think...
Do you think this guy wants a... Nope, never mind.
wow, he's getting pretty good odds.
I would gamble there with
He's
7-8.
getting pretty. He's probably getting the right price, but and he would have hit it. And
He
wow,
would-
this is a really
Oh.
interesting card for Faker now.
Look at him. He's like,
Oh.
I would have just...
Oh, it snap goes check, huh?
That's a good check by Faker.
If you're gonna turn your,
I mean, it's a good check. You just the straight comes in. That's 4 to the straight, so...
yeah. But once Big Country checks it over to you,
Yeah,
I think you have a really, like your hand is almost never good on the
Right.
river, and
so you have to bluff it.
if you're gonna find hands to bluff, I'm not sure if that's the greatest hand to bluff, but it feels like in that spot, you're probably gonna end up with a lot more straights than Big Country, especially given how Big Country played. I think a lot of times he just will bet if he hits the straight there.
Right, yeah. Got
But
Victor
also,
in the
like,
box.
yeah, you might think that it's gonna be tough to get that one through too. So
Right, I agree with you. If Faker's going to play that hand.
I think if you're gonna float the flop, right, you have to be ready to bluff a lot of rivers there. Right?
Well-
or like turning into bluff a lot.
Yeah.
Just because it's a very ambitious float on the flop, I think, especially multi-way. All right, J1 gonna open the button to 75, and AJ gonna make the call with ace queen. We're gonna go 3 ways to this flop.
Three ways this flop. I'm going to take a little break. I'll be right
Wow.
back.
What a flop. J1 gonna go ahead and bet. And Big Country enjoying some candy. Probably gonna lay this one down. And then AJ has an interesting decision here. I think he's probably gonna float one. And that's exactly what he's going to go ahead and do.
I'll take 9.
So AJ has a pretty under-repped hand here, but Joe definitely has a lot of kings in his range.
Can I get in?
I think that AJ's in a spot where he probably check evaluates a lot of the time, and Jaywin with his exact holding, imagine is gonna continue to fire. Interesting. Jaywin checks back.
No, you can go on pause.
Is it double if you get rid
My
of
pick is
2
here.
on the flop?
My board's on pause.
Okay, you can say it to do it.
Yeah, you can say I'm on pause.
Unless I
No,
feel
no,
like
no, no.
And AJ gonna go ahead and bet this,
We're working on your memory.
and he's gonna use a
Try to work on your memory.
little more than half pot
I
sizing.
gotta do 75, right? 75 each?
No, no, no. One deuce. 25 each. 25.
25 each, yeah. So where do we Deuces?
And Jaywin looks like he's gonna go ahead and just give this one up.
25, yeah. That's, no.
Come on board. And you got to catch it by the turn. I'm getting bored.
Some interesting action on the turn there. I would think with the nut flush draw and position that Jaywin might continue to bet that turn,
Where's Sam?
but maybe he figures that AJ's hands are more weighted towards showdown, and it's going to be hard to get a king to fold, and he decides to take the more passive route there. But yeah, we'll move on to the next hand here.
Was Vic from Virginia Tech? Yeah, no one can help out.
Actually, I want to change it to a 3. Can I change it to a 3?
Sure.
Good, because every time I got a 5, I wanted to tell you.
No, I didn't look at my hand.
Don't hope too much.
And Figure's going to go ahead and make it $75. Chase is going to call with Jack 4 suited, and Chaz is going to wake up with Ace King off. And he's going to put in the raise. To 575. I think that sizing makes a lot of sense.
And then one more guy, so we can win 100. Even money.
And Faker gonna come in for the call, leaving himself about a pot size bet behind. And we're gonna see a flop heads up.
Oh, fucking 9.
So both of them with this flop.
Come on, B. I'm on 9s now.
Interesting to see what Chaz decides to do here. I don't know how much of his 3-betting range he's gonna be checking flop on. And he's just gonna go all in. Wow. For about a pot-sized jam here. And Faker is gonna go ahead and lay it down. And Chaz is gonna take down a nice pot, showing some aggression. And I guess that for Chaz, he just decides that if he's going to bet, that's the only bet sizing that makes sense. And so he just goes ahead and rips it in, and he's going to win another nice pot. $5, $10, $25, $50 this hand. And we've had a pretty interesting game so far. We had a stretch in the middle where things were pretty crazy, and now things have sort of evened out a little bit. And Faker's going to come in for a raise with King Queen off. And Chase with 6-4 suited is going to go ahead and Button the call. Chaz with pocket fives. And this guy with queen jack suited, I imagine it's gonna call, and so we're gonna go to flop 4 ways. 725 in the middle. It should be a fun flop. Oh wow! Big Daddy Chaz flops a set, and Faker flops top pair. This could be trouble for Faker. SPR about 2. This guy. Faker gonna bet his top pair. Chooses a relatively small sizing. I think that makes sense given his stack size. Chaz is gonna fold. Chaz. I imagine he's just gonna flat call here. No reason to raise. And that's exactly what he does. And this guy's gonna fold. And Faker is probably sitting thinking he has the best hand a lot of the time here. This is a tough spot for him. Oh! And he turns top 2. Wow. What a gross turn for Faker. And I just can't imagine now there's any way that he gets away from this hand. SPR about 1, so I imagine that he's just going to... Oh, man. And he bets 350. 450, leaving himself $700 behind. And Chaz now... probably says that he's just going to go with it here, given how little Faker has behind. But we'll see what he decides. And he goes all in. Faker has to call. And this is just another cooler for Faker. There's nothing you can do here. And the river's a 6. And... oh, Faker's going to get stacked, and that's just a pretty gross cooler. Nothing you can really do there is Faker. Just the toughest spot in poker. You just never see those little sets. And with top 2 there, Chaz is going to have plenty of probably flush draw type hands / enough hands that you beat that you just can't do anything there. And man, it has not been Faker's night. So nice hand for Chaz there. Flops a set and gets max value. And he continues to build that monster stack of chips. And we'll see if Faker's going to come back in. AJ folds 7 deuce on the button. So I guess they're not playing this 7 deuce game. Tillman wakes up with jacks in the big blind. Gets called by this guy with 5. Flop is relatively safe for jacks. And he's going to check it over to this guy. And the turn is going to go check, check. And the river is going to go check, check. And Tillman's going to take down a small pot with his jacks.
No, he's got 3. Oh, okay. I changed the deuce and all it came. You got my 9. You're called the 9. You only 5. No, he's calling it. He said it right away. Come on. Dude, give me my money. Dude, give me my money. Was it yes or no? Yes. 2 9 got it. I didn't see it. I really didn't see it. It's on video. So it's no contest. Money back. He didn't see it. Well, no, I really didn't. I'm with you, man. I heard him call it. I didn't call it. Did you call it? He said it right after you did. Did he really? Yeah. That's why I didn't notice that. I know. I'm just. I don't have any skin. I'm not like that. I don't have any skin in the game. This came every time. Yeah, dude.
I know. You should have changed.
That's how it works.
So Chase wakes up with Queen Jack suited here. Gonna raise it to 100. This guy gonna defend with 6-9, and we're gonna see a flop heads up. King 3-3 doesn't hit either player. Looks like there are some side bets, and the players are figuring that out.
We got it through. We got it through.
And Chase is gonna turn a pair here,
Is that double?
and I imagine that he's just gonna bet and get it through.
We should do that double. But do you guys want to do double? If it's double board? That's more fun. Pair board is double.
Or then triple. No, we're making it really simple.
Okay, fine.
And you would have missed the double that made you feel even.
I'm down. Hey, I'm down for this. If all three of your cards come out in the flop, it's $100 a head.
Yeah, triple.
Yeah, I'm up for that.
All three,
I mean, that's never gonna happen.
Sounds good. I'll pay that. I'll pay that.
Let's do like if just 2 cards comes.
All three, baby. All three.
All threes is never gonna happen.
I saw 3 fours earlier.
Yeah.
That's why I picked it.
All right, let's do it.
No, I'm always fours. What's this? We got a live 50 or?
I hate this game already.
What's
I'm
the?
stuck now.
Is that a call already? Is that a blind call?
25.
Oh, what am I thinking? I'm
Too
thinking.
stuck.
We'll see. I'm not going on pause.
Why does the king come all the
Chad's gonna open up King Jack off here.
I figure ace or king or queen. One of those two.
And pair's gonna defend with an ace, and we're gonna go off to a flop. We haven't seen these two play heads up much at all, and so it should be interesting. Looks like they're sorting out some side bets.
I'll give you change back tomorrow.
I'm always a big fan of a few little side bets on the table. Normally,
I'm colorblind, dude.
you know, they're pretty even bets, and so I think it makes everybody more engaged. It makes the table more fun, and I'm all about having fun at the table. I think it's really good for the game if everybody's having a good time, and nobody likes to sit at a table where nobody's talking and nothing's happening. So whatever, either red, black, or pick a card or whatever, make the game a lot more fun.
1710 right now.
So Chaz with the rest of it here. Let's see if he goes for some value.
I don't know. They should be the overwhelming favorite, though.
I expect him to bet relatively small here because I don't know sort of what hands that he's targeting.
That's a lot, though, in NFL.
Good bet. Pretty big.
10 or 11, especially 11, that's a lot of points in NFL.
And Pierre
That's like Texas playing Kansas.
I was gonna say, that's like Texas football.
gonna lay it
Texas
down.
Longhorn football in every game. Like, they just know Texas is gonna give it up before quarter.
Interesting sizing from Chaz there. I guess if Pierre has a pair, he's probably never folding. So
So bad. I wouldn't go, but on my cousin's
you can just bet big and hope to get called by any pair, and then everything else is probably folding. So I guess that makes sense.
The only source of unhappiness for me this year. And it made me think so deep about it. It was really sad. I was like, if I stop watching Texas football, I'm almost like, I'm pretty much having a perfect year.
The other day I forgot they played at 11. At 12 o'clock, I'm like, oh yeah, the horns are on.
It's
Oh, they're
literally
losing.
the only thing that makes me like, unhappy.
Well, because it shouldn't be.
They're so bad this year. They're so bad.
I don't see how he's gonna
I mean,
beat it.
I didn't even have lofty expectations. I
We
figured
play
get 8
Bama in
wins.
2 games. 2 more games, and then we play Bama. How's that gonna work? We're gonna have that crap. A little bit more practice.
I didn't care for Sark's language either in his last press conference. He used the phrase, "We're ripping everything apart from bottom up." That just sounds like you're just trying to buy 2 more years. Like, that's just. Like, but I get it though. That's.
But I think he's made some bad choices. Like, why
Bro,
did he?
I don't care. Yeah, I don't care
what your coach. I don't care what's going on. If you lose to Kansas, you're bad. Like, I'm all on the Sark train.
Why did? Why
Sounds like we have some college football talk at the table.
Well, the thing is,
cost us a lot of games?
no, well, the thing is, Thompson.
Gonna leave my opinions out of that.
Casey Thompson's hurt. He's playing hurt.
Yeah, that's what.
Though I will say,
His hand's not wrapped up.
my Patriots are looking pretty great right now.
Throw in a couple passes. It wasn't.
That's what I'm like. What's his issue? Because his hand was wrapped up.
Mac Jones coming out and being the best quarterback out of this year's draft.
But
Who would have seen it coming?
in the Kansas game, Obo threw 5 touchdowns in a very short period of time.
But right now, when
And we got the 50 on here.
we should start next game. Like, just so we can start. Like, that's the best way for him to learn.
I'd be surprised if both of them are still on the team next year. You know what I mean? Yeah. You got Malik Murphy coming in, which I highly doubt that guy starts. Because he's a project. He's not a credible quarterback yet. Yeah, next year will be interesting.
Folds to Chase.
Next game, so
Gonna defend his straddle.
Glad we're not going to bowl game. I don't want to watch it.
yeah, I can't deal with another. I'm all about the football, the basketball team now.
And Tillman flops the best of it. And Chase gonna go ahead and bet out his gutter. And let's see what Tillman does here. A draw heavy board. And we're just gonna go ahead and fold. And I think that makes sense. Tough to navigate further streets.
You keeping up with basketball?
A little bit. My buddy,
They look good.
Dr. Buddy bought season tickets, and his wife doesn't like to go half the time, so I was like, I'm taking you half the
Your
time.
White's on live stream?
They look good. They lost to Gonzaga, but you're looking at one of the top teams in the country. I'm okay with
Did you
that.
watch the game?
I did.
How did they do? How did they
They
look?
actually did good. Yeah, it's not like they got blew out. I mean, they lost. If you look on the stat sheet only, they look kind of bad, but I mean, they held
They're
Gonzaga.
still young, right?
Well, no, they're very experienced. They're all the transfer players. But they've only been playing together for like 3 months.
That's what I'm saying.
Gonzaga's a very experienced team.
They're not gelling yet.
Yeah, I feel like if we play Gonzaga in the tournament, we significantly close the gap.
So Tillman gonna go ahead and raise up his king jack off.
On all the other teams, defense was great. They had
Wanted
9
to watch
players.
And
But I was
Pierre gonna call with pocket threes on the button. I think that
and then actually,
uh,
because it was the same night as Kansas. Correct?
flatting the low to mid league pocket pairs on the button makes a lot of sense.
We left at half.
If you're a Texas fan, that day was
And we're gonna see a flop 5 ways.
Like, man, I don't know what to do with this.
King 7-4. Tillman gonna flop the best of it with top pair, and nobody else has much of anything. Chase with bottom pair, and that's pretty much it. And so Tillman's bet of 175 is probably gonna get the job done here. Pierre thinking about it with pocket threes and is gonna make the call. Very interesting. Oh, action tracker was wrong there. And Tillman gonna take that down.
Just call it no matter what.
I was gonna say that was a pretty interesting float with pocket threes. But yeah, fold makes a lot more sense. We got our chip counts. Big Daddy Chaz having a nice night on stream. And everybody else kind of floating around in the middle. Chase is doing pretty well as well.
What bank? Change banks. I would. Get out. So, like we said,
All right.
companies said they were gonna go out of business.
Sean Lee, shout out to TCHLive, baby. Thanks, Sean. We appreciate that.
Yeah, if your auto scout is on.
Sean Lee got you playing poker again. Love it. Ragnar Overby asks what you're snacking on. So curious to know what people's favorite snacks to eat at a poker table are. Got into a fun conversation the other day, and I'd love to know what people think the weirdest thing you could possibly eat at a poker table would be. We came up with some pretty funny answers.
And I get it all. I don't have to split it with
See if we can get any good responses. Sean Lee says, I try to play like Garrett, but every time I call Nolan with just ace high, I lost. That's pretty funny. So, big country. Top pair, marginal kicker. Not sure what Jaywin had here. No, he's gonna take down that pot. Maybe a better jack. Squiroo asks, is there a book of illegal self-defense? Seems like somebody should write that book. Ragnar Overby says bag of spaghetti, which is pretty hilarious. That would be a pretty, that would be a pretty funny thing to show up at a table with, bag of spaghetti. Just one of those Ziploc bags, that would be great. Yeah, no, I think that would be hilarious. All right, Chase is gonna wake up with ace jack suited on the button. He's gonna, looks like he's gonna come in for the raise. Gonna make it 100, and it's gonna fold around. Yeah, the Ziploc bag of spaghetti would be a pretty crazy move. I guess, yeah, portable. Makes sense. Probably relatively clean. You just look like a psychopath while you eat it. So I don't know if that's worth the trade-off.
Full Italian?
My mom's from Milano. My dad's Irish Indian, so I'm half.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
God and Candy, Jedi Master Ted. That's a pretty good one too. I think spaghetti though bag of spaghetti has to be in the lead right now. I think eating anything out of a Ziploc bag though is gonna look pretty crazy. Like if you bring a Ziploc bag into a poker room full of any sort of food, that's gonna look pretty wild. 3 ways to a flop here. Some pretty speculative foldings, all suited. Tillman gonna flop the best of it. Kings with a marginal kicker. And Pierre gonna go ahead and bet as the pre-flop aggressor. And Tillman's gonna call. And this is a board that probably favors the pre-flop aggressor more than the field callers. So I imagine Pierre here is gonna, if check 2, Pierre is gonna find another bullet. Although his actual holding is very marginal here. So it'll be interesting to see what he decides to do. And he decides to check, and I think that makes sense as well. Tillman is probably not calling the flop with anything marginal, and Tillman's going to go ahead and bet the river. And I think Pierre is going to manage to get away from this one. Although it could be a really interesting hand to try and turn into a bluff. Given that I don't know how many worse hands he gets to this river with. But
you on such a roll, I don't want to stop you.
We'll see what he decides. And he looks like he's thinking about it.
I do, but when I saw the queen, I was like, let me not say that.
Oh, and he's going to go for it. Wow, what a play from Pierre.
Okay, so these Euros.
Wow, he gets a snap full from Tillman. Wow. And so that's a very interesting play from Pierre. I think he recognizes that Tillman can have a lot of hard flush draws there, and he can have a lot of king X. And facing a raise on that river, those hands are going to be put into a really difficult spot, and that most of the time Tillman isn't going to have a hand that's super, super strong there. And Pierre probably has most of those super nutted hands.
Chase needs one too.
And he just decides that he can get that bluff through enough of the time. Really interesting play. Really cool play from him there.
But we're going to drink the second bottle. Oh, yeah? Yeah, absolutely. I'm okay, thank you. The bottle opener's here, Pierre.
Jedi Master Ted, I think if you eat spaghetti without a fork, you should be
Hey, Pete, I'm really
probably
All right, cheers.
put into some sort of prison.
There it is. Cheers.
Raw spaghetti is underrated. There's an opinion, and everybody's entitled to their own, but
Wait now, dude.
I don't know if I necessarily agree with that. Tillman gonna go ahead and flop the nut flush draw here versus Faker's top pair,
You need more.
and Chase has a gutter, and this guy has bottom pair. So everybody interacting with this flop a little bit. Faker gonna go ahead and bet out for about half pot. Oh, I'm sorry. That was about a full-size pot bet. And Tillman's going nowhere with his nut flush draw. And this guy going to come along with his bottom pair. Interesting call from this guy. I guess he closes the action. Wow! And the ace rolls off. What a horrible card for Faker. Goes from beating a lot of hands to beating almost nothing now, especially getting called twice. And Tillman now turns top pair to go along with his nut flush draw. And this guy with two pair. So it'll be interesting to see how this plays out. I imagine Tillman is going to check. Ragnar overbuy. We do have a microwave here, and so you can absolutely warm up your bag of spaghetti. Although, if you actually come in with a bag of spaghetti, I don't know that they're going to let you in. Metal fork in the microwave. Perfect. Tillman going to go in and bet 375. Going to get a call from ace 3, and Faker is going to give up his jack, seeing maybe the worst turn card in the deck. And this guy is going to end up with the best hand on the river. Tillman going to take his showdown, and this guy going to go ahead and bet, and Tillman's going to get away. And I think that hand basically played itself. Lobster or crab legs with a at a poker table. That's pretty great too. Nuclear winter. I think I still have to go with spaghetti out of a Ziploc bag though.
When you left, they gave you like flour.
Just because of how easy it would be to figure that one out.
Where was that? Go
Seems like a lot more effort to do lobster. I think one of the best responses that we came up with was eating an apple, which seems really simple, but it'd be pretty crazy to see somebody eating an apple at a poker table. I feel like that would be really weird. I just couldn't see anybody really doing that. It would really throw me off guard. Oh, Big Country wakes up with queens. Again, we've seen a lot of ladies tonight. And Big Country has been relatively card dead so far. So I'm going to go ahead and raise it up. And get 3 callers. King Jack 3. And everybody whiffs besides Big Country. He's going to go ahead and bet, and he's going to take it down.
We're all forward. Here's your king. Why'd you miss your 3?
And he wins a side bet, it looks like.
This game, man. It's not.
Yeah, you called it. And the 3 was there too. I know. I was like, is he gonna look? And he didn't even. He just paid you and looking at you. And you're like, hey.
Such a massive dog.
You know, I like gambling in London, though. They do that blackjack where they deal the dealer the last card. They have one card down that's it.
That's so
And then they, you can't see the other card, yeah. And then there's people behind you betting.
Paul D says Cheetos, so you can mark the cards.
$400 on your hand, you got like 100 on. You're like, and if you bet the five
Plenty of people at TCH are going to enjoy some of the snacks up front, and there's definitely some Cheetos in there. So if you can figure out a way to mark the cards without the dealers noticing, kudos to you. But I think it'd be really difficult.
Oh, they bet on you. You call the cards.
people just walk by, there's like 3 spaces underneath you, and they can bet hard on that.
I fold because
It's like,
you're not coming.
Michael Tilton asked who's commentating. My name's Austin. I'm a guest commentator.
That's good.
And I'm here with Seth, but he's on a little break right now, junior producer.
I love playing black. I only play like 20 hands, but I play, play it occasionally.
Actually, I'm getting word that Seth is taking over the production, doing what he does best. So that's why it's just me now.
I mean, the last time I played craps, I put $10 on the make 'em all. Because my buddy was like, you don't
Ragnar Overby, that's some rounder, or
made it all. I was throwing, made 'em all.
that's actually sounds like a pretty great idea. That's Teddy KGB shit right there. Oops, excuse my language.
Of course I love craps right now. I get it.
I took Sam, and he played 200, and it was gone like
Craps
a
are
minute.
fun.
And he's like, I will never play this game. I was like, oh, sometimes people win.
But you gotta go with your friends and everybody bets together. Yeah. When you're not roll, it's
Got
so
ace
fun.
deuce suited versus ace deuce suited.
Three.
Attaboy.
You started talking.
Looks like Faker is going to flop top pair here on a monotone board. And these monotone boards are always tricky to navigate.
First time you ever played.
And Chaz with his mystery hand is going to go ahead and bet 200. And Faker's going to go all in.
20 years later.
And Chaz is going to call. And the river's going to come with spade. Oh, and Chaz flopped the nut flush. Oh, what a gross flop for Faker. And he's had a really rough go of it tonight.
Hey, man, GG. Talk to you later.
What a bummer.
See you up in live stream.
Lopping the nuts. I think it's somebody else.
Michael Tilton says Austin in Austin. That's the first time I've heard that one.
That's live. All the people saying.
So tough night for Faker.
Alright, I've got one of those 3
You look at me. Thanks.
You haven't seen a 4 in a while.
What's your card, Derek?
I actually never paid you a thing. Did you ever hit it one?
No,
I
yeah.
haven't hit one.
Yeah, exactly. I was like,
You're 4.
No, I hit one. I hit one.
yeah, you did.
Yeah. I four.
I hit it like many times, but I didn't call it many times.
Probably won't hit.
Give him a 4.
So we're going 4 ways to this flop.
Oh.
Chase and Big Country going to flop top pair. Nobody else with much of anything. Big Country has the backdoor nut flush draw as well.
Oh my gosh, yeah, the deuce has come a bunch.
But now I can't change it anymore because obviously it's not going to.
Right, then it'll start to throw in the three.
And this guy with a fairly ambitious float here in position.
In the worst spot. Four in the worst spot. I check.
And Chase is going to check. And so is this guy. And 9 on the river would be pretty sick.
Check.
And Chase is going to go ahead and check. And looks like the river was clean for Chase, and he's going to scoop a nice pot. I think on that specific river, this guy could have considered running a bluff because a lot of the front door draws come in. Although it looks like maybe the action tracker was wrong. So
No, I'd like to get mine though.
Yeah, I'm trying to get my $2.
Is it like what's the utility of it? Like, could you rent a helicopter for fairly?
I'm doing plane, but
Yeah.
I'm going to get my oldest daughter to start it first,
Yep.
and then become a instructor and instruct my other daughter, and that's why I want to invest in a plane,
Yeah.
and then she can instruct other people and get my money back.
Nice.
Yeah. Then they get the commercial license, so they can make money.
Yep.
But it's not good over the winter because the clouds are low and stuff.
Yeah.
So you have.
Which means what? Like it's more dangerous to
Yeah,
fly?
yeah, it's harder.
Oh, less visibility. Yeah, got it.
One
Got it.
less days you see that
Yeah.
go out.
Yeah.
I feel like it's a cool thing to have in your life.
Yeah, commercial to instruct people. Well, no, she's gonna.
No, you gotta get instructor. You gotta get.
No, you gotta get commercial to be a paid pilot. You have to be a
Yeah, no,
commercial
no,
pilot
but you
to be able
said it right though. You have to get instructor to be commercial.
No, you got commercial.
thanks, Ragnar Overby. I missed Lottie too. Unfortunately, Seth had to step back into production mode. So it makes it a little tougher doing it just by myself, which makes me respect Lottie even more for what he does. He does a great job with this. But hopefully you guys have enjoyed my thoughts. So this guy, 6'4" suited, gonna go ahead and raise it up. And Pierre, with his suited connector as well, is gonna go ahead and 3-bet it. And I like this play from Pierre. I think that in late position, you're more incentivized to come in with a 3-bet with this kind of holding and try and isolate and chase.
Random question. Does anybody have access to a Rolex dealer here?
Rolex?
Yeah.
I have a Rolodex.
Is gonna come in for the call
Grandpa. I can get you in touch
with
the guy who
7-8.
sells the bus fuel. Yeah, like.
And we've got a bunch of low suited connectors here, so let's see what the flop is.
You know Rolex, Mike? I don't, but if your name is Rolex, like,
Queen
I know
deuce
exactly
4.
what you do. Like I wouldn't want to inundate someone.
So Pierre's gonna flop a
Like somebody does
flush draw. Chase is going to whiff pretty hard, and this guy's gonna end up with middle pair.
Yeah.
Interested to see how Pierre plays this if it's check to him.
Like having the worst time buying a Rolex right now. It's like fucking incredibly difficult. Yeah. Like one.
And he's gonna go ahead and continue betting.
We'll give it to you. And I'm like, I literally sent out a group chat, and my whole friends list was like, yeah, we're in. I went back to the dealer. They're like, oh, sorry, we can't do it.
And I think this is probably going to get through.
I want to buy 10 and y'all won't sell it to me?
Although this guy
I'm trying to buy cameras for my business, and they're like, well, people that make these cameras
is a non-believer and calls with middle pair. Interesting here.
on it. If I buy 4 cameras, then there'll be other people that want to buy the same. They're
Wow, and the turn is a 5.
you're not going to give me a discount.
Interesting.
Right. Like,
Pierre picks up open and straight draw, and this guy picks up a gutter.
500 discount on each one.
yeah. That's a whopping.
So this is an interesting card for Pierre because I think a lot of the time this favors this guy's range a lot more, but he's going to continue to bet here. And his hand has buttloads of equity against almost all of this guy's holdings here. And I'm curious to see what he does on a brick river here.
Right. Probably video cameras at that point. Some of the film cameras.
Very specialized. They have
Chaz,
software.
I'll try John G first. Yeah. But I'll try you.
They're on a lanyard.
And once Pierre bets the river or bets the turn for half pot here, this guy with his exact holding is put into a pretty tough spot because his hand just isn't even if his hand is best right now, it's not faring that well against the range of Pierre, and if he's behind, he's way behind, and that's just like not really a spot that you ever want to get yourself into. But he looks like he's just a non-believer. He's seriously considering a call right now.
And I'm like, this is you're a poker player with cash on hand. These are pretty good. And Rolex obviously fits that bill.
Yeah. They're so nice too, man.
And he raises. Wow. Min clicks it back to Pierre. What a play from this guy. And this is going to put Pierre in a blunder here. Pierre has to call 800 into a pot of 3,600. So I don't think he can really fold. And this is a really interesting play from this guy. I wonder if Pierre is considering clicking it back because it puts no, I think for Pierre most of the time you're just going to call here given the sizing, and that's exactly what he's going to do. And let's see a river. And the river is something. And this guy's going to check. And we're not sure what the river is yet. And I imagine that if the action is correct and this guy checks the river, Pierre is going to end up. Yeah, I think Pierre is going to go all in on a lot of rivers here. It's just a spot where once this guy checks, I think that whatever, like Pierre's just going to get this through a lot when he misses, and that if he gets there, this is sort of a mandatory bet as well. But we're not sure what the river is, and this guy looks like he's really thinking about it. Although Pierre bets 1.6k. I know. Not sure what the action is on the river. Sorry for the technical difficulties, folks. I would like to know what the river is as much as you all would. We got a massive 6K pot brewing here. Oh, is this right? He 3-bet?
Okay, I'm back. I'm back, everybody.
All right, we got Seth back. Okay, I
so
think
no,
our graphics were wrong. And
No, Pierre did bet. Or Pierre
Pierre
3-bet.
re-raised? Okay, okay,
He hasn't acted yet.
okay, okay. So the action was wrong at first.
But when he did act, the dealer told me the wrong action.
Okay, so
And
we had...
so it will get fixed.
Gotcha.
Like
Sorry, folks. Yeah, so we had the wrong action, so now it looks like Pierre 3-bet this hand, which I think that makes a lot of sense, because he got massive combo draw here, and this guy is repping pretty thin. So this is a pretty sick play from Pierre. You don't see many 3-bets on the turn, but I think that given this guy's sizing... Oh, and he shoves! And he
called.
calls.
Yeah.
And a pair of
So-
4s is good.
Yep. The dealer missed telling me the action on the turn. That's why it was so delayed.
Wow.
You'll see.
Wow.
I fix it right
And
now.
this guy scoops a 9K pot with a pair of 4s. Wow. And he just rips it into him with pair of 4s and a gutter. What a sick play by this guy. He says, I don't believe you. He says, I think you have too many hands like exactly what you have, and I think my pair of 4s is good enough here. And he just rips it in, and Pierre snap calls, of course, and he fades the world. Wow, what a sick hand.
That's some guts right there.
Wow, that is some guts. He goes with the min-click 4-bet shove. That is really, really, really cool. And he's going to scoop a 9K pot. And this guy is he's really running it up tonight. What an awesome hand. What a really, really awesome hand.
Chips on live stream. Oh my god, man. Somebody get the birthday boy off the table. He's running hot.
Golly. Oh, man. Welcome to Texas. Oh, man. Wow, what an awesome hand.
I was, yeah.
Sorry for the delay, but hopefully it was worth it for all of y'all. I know I had a really good time watching that hand. Man, that is so sick. What a sick shove. Wow. That was awesome. That was really, really cool.
I wonder what was going through his head.
I think he thought exactly, like, Pierre has so much of exactly what he had.
He bricked.
And he just was like, he's just like, all right, he has a lot of flush draw, straight draw combos. He doesn't have too many nutted hands, and if he happens to have like an overpair there, he's got plenty of equity against the overpair.
Right.
And so he just goes, I'm just gonna rip it. And like, I think like that's a big reason why you don't see like too many hands that play out that way.
Right.
Because 3-betting on the turn is like really weird, right? But like for Pierre, it makes perfect sense. And then I think this guy's sizing is like so interesting on that turn too, because he basically just min clicks it, right?
Right.
And
yeah.
like Pierre, like I think a lot of the times Pierre can just call, but also like is he really gonna min click like his sets and stuff? Like I don't know.
Right.
Like that's a really, really cool hand.
Is your wife on your Fine Friends? Is your wife on Fine Friends? Do you have an iPhone?
Okay, Austin had to step out for a second.
Your wife's not tracking your relationship. Turn our Fine Friends off. We can take you I had to think about it too. And I thought what you thought, and then I saw him.
So we have a dealer change, about to do a bomb pot.
What are you playing mostly? I'm sorry? What are you Hey y'all, as a break-even player today,
Want to give
I'm very
shout out to
excited for
everybody
ELO.
watching. Smash the like button.
Alright,
It's not, but can you open it?
Smash that like button, please. Upcoming events, real quick. This Sunday, Greg goes all in and Next Gen Poker. I believe that's in Dallas. Then next Thursday, Greg goes all in Austin on the 2-5. And that's all we got right now. Coming up here in the next week will be very exciting. Can't wait to have Greg goes all in Austin. So we're on a bomb pot, 4 cards, everybody.
Oh my god.
Gonna see one flop.
Oh, that's too funny. That's too funny.
Now I apologize to the viewers. It's when there's 4 cards, our scanners have trouble for some
Practice
reason.
that with my wife. Will you use that in yours and see what happens?
Report back to me.
I need to know what's the probability this thing.
All right. Jalen wakes up with 4 hearts here. And he blocks all of the high hearts. This is pretty interesting, man. Really, he blocks all of his outs.
I hate this spot. When you
Right,
have,
this is a super frustrating spot because you block all your outs,
You
but you still
block-
have
yeah.
such a nutted draw. Like, it's pretty annoying.
like, I just want 2. Just give me 2.
J1 200 to call.
Chase with the mystery hand. It's gonna lead out for 200. Imagine he has 2 pair
And
combos,
J1 not
straight
going
draw,
anywhere.
top pair.
Sets. J1 turns a gutter with a top, I guess.
Yeah. Jwin acquired a little bit more equity on the turn. Jwin's going to check to Chase. Chase
Just
says,
gonna go
I
and-
still have the best hand.
Bet.
Go away. I'm a bet.
He's going to use a pretty small size.
Yeah,
it looks
I
like.
don't like that.
I think he gives J1 too good of a price to chase all of his draws.
Exactly. In PLO, you don't want to give people a price.
Right,
To
and like people are going to equities run so close in PLO that I think like pushing people off their equity matters a lot more.
Right.
Yeah,
J1
so
says,
J1's
yeah.
going to call. He's got so much equity, although less because he blocks his outs. But let's see a river. Oh my God!
Bank City.
Wow, that's gross. And he wow, and he blocks the he blocks the straight flush too. So like he just has the nuts and
Right.
just good clean living.
He has over half the hearts. In his combining his hand and the board, he has over half the hearts in the deck.
Yeah, 7 outs on that river, and I imagine, oh, he's just gonna lead into chase. I wonder what sizing. 600, yeah, and chase is gonna fold trip
Yeah.
jacks. What a bad river for. I mean, yeah, everything gets there. The sizing from chase makes sense on that turn, I think, with trip jacks.
Did he show Chirp Jacks?
I heard it on the.
Oh, did you?
Yeah,
Okay.
he said he
I'm
had
having
Chirp
trouble
Jacks.
hearing them on
Yeah.
mine. So. Yeah, I mean, Chase was definitely playing cautiously concerning the draws out there. That makes more sense now. I didn't know even before when I watched his hand in the booth, in the production booth. I didn't know what he had. That makes more sense now.
Yeah, I think that's fine. Like you build a pot when you hit your boat, and then you can get away from it.
Right.
Although, like that's very like I don't know anything about.
Well,
Yeah,
it would.
also.
I would be able to commentate better if I knew what he had at the time. But no, that makes more sense. Because a set there is scary with all those draws out there. So
Right. All right, so we got a raise to 150 from Pierre. Big country gonna go and defend the suited connector. I think off the stack sizes, that's perfectly reasonable. And it looks like it's going to fold to our resident crusher, Mr. This Guy. And somehow he whiffs a flop. And Pierre is just going to go ahead and flop trips, top trips. But it's going to be tough for him to get any value.
Yeah.
He's going to go ahead and bet, and I imagine it's going to go fold.
I would expect that. Yep.
And snap fold. Yep. That's always one of the worst feelings in poker, right? You just flop
You flop everything.
super nutted multi-way, and it checks to you, and you're like, I mean, I have to bet, and you
Right.
put in a little bet, and everybody just snap folds, and you're like, I waited 2 hours to, for
Yeah,
that.
you just hope someone has an overpair at that point.
Somebody has anything, right?
Right,
I mean,
yeah.
Come on, man. Like somebody has a spade draw or whatever, but sometimes that's how it goes.
Yeah, they didn't feel like chasing a backdoor, so.
Man, that 6-4, 6-7 hand was unbelievable. And they just rip it once. These guys are savages.
Right.
Just savages out here.
That's
In the 5-10 streets, man, you find a lot of these absolute savage crushers, huh?
right. And you don't really, honestly, you don't really see Pierre get out of line. So that was a sick call.
I don't think that's
I'm
out
still
of.
thinking about it. That was a sick.
I don't think that's out of line. Like for him.
No, like I'm saying in general, you don't see Pierre get out of line.
Mm-hmm.
So for him to go over the top,
Oh, for this guy to go
Yeah,
over the top.
that just-
right.
that's
It's
just
crazy,
sick.
man. It's crazy. He's sick. But I think that like on that board with that board texture, he just is like, you just have enough of these like
you're basically saying you missed your draws. That's what I believe. Take my money if I'm wrong. And he was right.
Yeah, and I think for him, like having exactly the hand that he had, he doesn't block any diamonds. He has a gutter to bail him out, right? Which is gonna give him the
Right.
best hand most of the time. He probably like
Well, it can't be quad nines.
I don't know, like if he hits his trips, it's probably good. If he hits his two pair, it's probably good.
Right.
Give a board where you're
Because
Oh, you're talking about flop.
like the only hand that's a complete disaster for him is if Pierre has like queens, but. I mean, it's really hard for a Pierre to have queens, right? Because like there's just
For
a few
sure.
combinations of queens, and there's so many combinations of like straight draw, flush draw, whatever, right? Combos, and so.
It's not about like
Oh man,
That is.
but still, to
That's definitely one that.
I wonder if the sizing played into it because Pierre just basically like,
I mean,
it went
Pierre.
700, 1500, 3100, right? I wonder if Pierre had jammed, if this guy would have done something different. But
It almost was, or it is that Pierre's sizing and the way the betting went. It basically showed his hand.
it almost like induced him to
Right.
jam it there, like which is really interesting. So I wonder if Pierre is like balanced there, where he does it with the nuts too. But I mean, it's like these are the things that are so. This is what makes poker so fun, in my opinion, because like these are the things where like
So far, we only got one, right?
in live poker, you're just not going to be in that spot like ever again, right?
Right.
And so like the idea of being like balanced, right, is so out there to me, right? Like online for sure, you have to play closer to
Oh wait, it could be 9-9.
like a GTO strategy, I would think.
Right.
But in live, like there's so much deviation, right? And so it's like really interesting
Well, and
what
also,
people do in those spots, like
right. We don't know how much they have played against each other.
right.
The run out is like 7.
So, Pierre to be balanced, people have to see you being balanced. And
Right.
if he hasn't seen many hands from Pierre, then
It's just so hard to figure out what's going. Yeah.
well, it's just like that. Just that makes sense.
So we're talking about what the weirdest thing to eat at a poker table would be,
Okay.
and so
9-3 of diamonds.
Ragnar Overby asks, "What are your thoughts on a Ziploc bag of spaghetti as
Now,
the weirdest thing you could eat?"
I'm
at a
gonna
poker
try
table?
to up you just because I don't really want to answer that.
Always a better flush.
What about spaghetti and a sandwich? Spaghetti sandwich
Jack, queen, king.
between two pieces of bread.
But I think,
Would that be weird if someone pulled out a spaghetti?
but I think at a poker table it would make more sense because it would be like it wouldn't like it'd be really, really, really weird, but like you'd be like, okay, if you ate it as a sandwich, that makes more sense because like you don't want to spill it everywhere, kind of deal.
Have you ever
But-
ate spaghetti sandwich?
I mean, I'm sure it's messy.
No, it's great.
I mean, it's just like straight carbs, right? Carbs
Straight
on
carbs.
carbs on carbs on
It's a
carbs.
carb heaven.
Yeah.
There's one more. It's not as difficult as
Yes, I agree with Steven. Ribs. Would be the
Ribs
worst.
would be the worst, but
and bone-in wings.
okay.
Because you don't
but-
use your hands to eat boneless
But
wings.
2 cards have to play, so the 9 can't make the
he said followed by wings. He has you.
Right.
But-
Bone-in wings would
But
be.
the question isn't like messiest or whatever. It's like weirdest, right? So like if you saw someone eating ribs, it'd be like they just ordered themselves a nice dinner and they're eating on the side. Like that, I wouldn't think that would be like. I wouldn't be like that's really weird.
No, I'd just be like, that's kind of gross if you.
Yeah, like don't touch the chips or the
Even-
cards, right? And like I'd be like maybe don't order ribs while you're playing poker, but like if someone was eating it on the side, I wouldn't be like, oh, that's super weird, right?
Right. It would just be like, I hope you just went and like bleached your hands,
Yeah, right.
and then go wash your hands afterwards.
Right. But like you can eat ribs. Like you could eat them with one hand and it'll be all right, I think, right? Like that's how if I'm eating at the table, I always just eat with one hand so I can touch everything
Right.
with the other hand, and so it makes it all right.
I always wash my hands before I eat. After.
Yeah, of course. But then like while I'm eating, I'll eat with one hand. and
You
I'll
know
make
what's
sure to
cool?
do that.
I've seen a player take a bag of chips and use chopsticks to eat the chips while he's playing.
All right.
What do you think of that?
That's pretty wild. That's pretty. I mean, I feel like that's really courteous. Like some people eat chips.
I like it.
I like that too because some people eat chips, dude, and they just like
Yeah, and then they
they
touch
get
the chip.
everything everywhere. It's like that's so gross, man.
Theo.
Like
Oh,
yeah.
I said his name out loud. My bad.
it's like man, I don't want to be rubbing
Yeah.
Cheeto dust or Dorito
Right.
dust or whatever everywhere. Let's see. We got liver and onions. I think
The smell would probably be worse than
Jeremy
the fact-
Zizi.
The smell would probably be worse than.
I mean, I think that's just like a strange thing to eat in general, is my opinion on that. And so I don't think that it's specific enough to a poker table to qualify for what we're talking about.
yeah, I don't eat.
Anyways,
I don't eat onions. Or, I mean, I eat onions. I don't eat liver.
yeah, I don't really.
I would try it. I just haven't eaten it.
Yeah. It
My
probably
favorite
tastes
thing
like.
to eat is sushi. What about you?
I mean, liver probably tastes like chicken, right? Doesn't everything?
I don't know.
Probably everything tastes like chicken.
I've had
But
chicken heart.
Did it taste like chicken?
It's just really tough.
Okay.
Just like meat. It's just a muscle.
Yeah.
But it's really chewy.
Right. I mean, it's working pretty hard, I imagine.
Yeah.
Wow. What? King Queen suited folds. Wow. Oh, it looks like there was a 4-bet. Wow. King.
No,
oh no.
king,
Peer,
queen,
okay.
queen.
The graphic was a little off.
But sushi is my favorite because I love sushi. Plus, I don't have to use my hands.
Wow. This guy up 6.1K.
Living right.
Chaz
living
up
good.
6.4. And wow. I do like sushi a lot. I don't know if it's my favorite, but.
It's my favorite to eat playing poker.
Oh, interesting. I
I mean, I love to eat it not playing poker, but
Right.
because I don't have to worry about messes or.
Yeah, I could see that. That's a pretty good poker table food
Yeah.
because you just have chopsticks usually, right? And
Chopsticks. Just
yeah,
you just set them down. You go back to playing. You don't have to worry about
Yeah.
anything.
And I should be able to He's got a raise here to 100.
Sean Lee, you earn more points by watching the stream, and the points you can use them to gamble or you can use them to buy merch. I think.
I think so. I haven't tried that. But yeah, just watch the stream. Now going back and watching old streams doesn't do it, but you watch every current stream that comes on Mondays and Thursdays. Also, up in Dallas on Tuesdays and Wednesdays. Then yeah, you gain points by just watching. Also by chatting. Yeah, chocolate covered crickets. Never had those.
Chocolate covered cricket.
Yeah, iron bite. Bags of pickle. To this
Pickled eggs. Pickled eggs. Back. No, that's great. All right, bye, man. That's great.
To this
I
hand
think
real
chocolate
quick.
covered crickets, like you would just, you wouldn't know that they were crickets. Anyways, back to the poker.
Maybe not. I don't know.
This guy,
This guy has top pair.
of course. Why wouldn't he?
I assume he's going to
For the
take
way
this down
tonight's
on the
gone.
turn with the bet. I don't know that. I'm just guessing. And that's probably
yeah.
what will happen. And just to warn you,
Okay.
this will be the last hand on stream. Just got word.
Thanks everybody for tuning in.
Yeah, ahead of time, I appreciate everybody for watching. Smash that like button, even if you watch it later. Smash it. Helps us. Doesn't hurt you. Doesn't cost you anything. Just pound it. Just don't break your phone or your computer or your TV. Interesting. Not what I expected. AJ
Right,
bets
AJ's
out.
gonna bet out here, which puts this guy in a interesting spot. But he's made the right decision every time tonight, so I
Yeah.
don't know why this would be any different.
AJ,
although
though,
the-
has been relatively quiet all night. So.
He has, and this is a relatively big bet compared to the size of the pot. But I just can't imagine that this guy's gonna fold top pair. And he's gonna raise. Wow.
Wow.
This guy is sick. This is a really sick raise. Wow. He's just like oh my god. He's like I block a lot of the really strong hands. You can have so many draws. I can have a 7 and you can't. And he says you're gonna fold.
His
and
BS
he just,
alert went off, and he's like,
wow.
I got you.
What a stream from this
Wow.
guy. What a beast. And he tips. What a tip. Wow. What a beast.
I'm glad.
This
More
guy.
power to you, this guy.
This guy. Tip your dealers.
Hey, I thank you everybody for watching again. It was a pleasure.
Wow.
Hope you enjoyed the stream.
That was awesome. That was really cool.
Tune in tomorrow for 10:25 up in Dallas. Happy Thanksgiving. Everyone be safe. Have fun. Enjoy some
your
football.
families.
And thank you, Austin, for joining me. I appreciate it, man.
Thanks for the invite, man. This was a good time.
Yeah, definitely have you back. Good night, everyone, and so long.